The Bears Barroom Radio Network is brought to you by Verdoliak Law Group and BetChicago.com.
It's an exciting time to be a Chicago Bear. Definitely have some dogs. I'm looking forward to getting out there with them dogs.
What about the 5 that you'll see on Sunday?
I know those 5 guys can't block Khalil Mack.
One word that just continues to keep coming up with Ryan and myself is the word obsession. Being obsessed. There's going to be accountability as well, and I think that's key.
Obsessed.
Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
Obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show and the Barflies are alive. Barflies unite,
Obsessed.
Barflies arise.
Being obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show and the Barflies are alive. It's game day, the Bears are ready to roll, and so are the guys. It's a show to get you wise, no lies, educating Barflies. Realize that Bobby dropping bombs is the double A be flipping burgers while the Diddy be wanting pot roast. First he's gone, now he's back, where does he go? And Nicki Minaj who disappears like David Blaine on the show. Last but not least, Southwest Indiana's finest, calling all the angels, now he's calling BG Highness. Cheer Bobby, Diddy, Nicki, Mr. Double A, talking the Bears to get you ready on the Barfly Tailgate. Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
I know those 5 guys can't block
It's
Khalil
the
Mack.
Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show and the Barflies are alive. Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
Chicago Bear.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show
Being
and the
obsessed.
Barflies are alive. Barflies unite, Barflies arise.
Being obsessed.
It's the Sunday Barfly Tailgate Show and the Barflies are alive.
I'm not a big talker. I like to go out and use my actions to speak, and when I get out there and get on the field, you can probably sense what's going to happen. I want to win.
Being obsessed.
I know those 5 guys can't block Khalil Mack.
Yo,
Being obsessed.
the Barfly Tailgate Show
Being obsessed.
begins now.
Obsessed.
Some may find the following disturbing. Discretion is advised.
Barfly, the name given to followers of @Bears Barroom, loyal, die-hard family members of the show who will wolfpack someone when needed.
Killing in the name of...
Good morning, Barflies. We're back for another Barfly Tailgate Show. It's live. It's done by Barflies, for Barflies, and all the other Bears fans out there. We got them Jets, Jets, coming to town today. I'm not saying that shit 3 times, but they're coming to town today in what many fans are calling a must-win after back-to-back losses to the AFC East. We've had a couple rough weeks, fellas. We need a spark to bring this team back to the forefront. Today, like every Sunday, we got that packed show lined up for you guys. We got the regulars in the house ready to kick some Bear knowledge. We'll be hitting the Barfly Spotlight this week with the one and only Greg Braggs Jr. He'll also be out at the game today, so we're going to try to hit him up for maybe a no-shit tailgate special with him and them Mott's boys. My name is Bobby Phelan. I'll be passing the questions, topics around to the crew. We're going to roll into it today, say what's up to these guys. Nicky Kurtz. I love little Nicky. He's in the house. He's ready for the hot takes and pancakes. Pockets, what up, boy?
What's going on, guys? We got this one today.
Yeah, we fucking better. Brian Quinn, B. Diddy, ready to roll this weekend. Made some breakfast this morning for the kids. What's up, dudes?
What's up, man? Tampa seemed like a long time ago, doesn't it? I just hope we get back to playing to our full potential today, man. This is a game to do it.
Yeah, we'll get into that. I don't know if we ever play to our full potential. I think we just play to our opponent's potential. Air Jared 54, still working the door after a long night of throwing him back, ready for the tailgate show. What's up, Air Jared?
What's going on? Don't go full Duval County, especially if you're in Britain. Can't go full Duval County. You gotta ration that shit out.
Yeah, I think I sent a little thing out to him this morning. I think Barlissimo had some of them Jag players out last night, got them all arrested. He's in the bar room. He's bringing his takes and losing his shit these last couple of weeks with these Bears. Hey, what's up, man? You ready?
Hey, what's going on? Let's do it. We got a patsy right here. We got to take him to school.
Finally, we got Tyler Ellis, the Gaines Report, coming off of his 100 Proof appearance. If you haven't heard it, check out 100 Proof. He's on there with the Draft Doctor and Aldo and just kills it. Gaines, welcome back to Gen Pop, buddy. How's things?
Oh, brother, welcome, man. It's game day, fam. Welcome back to you, Bobby. Badge holder down last week. The crew is happy to have the captain back so we can rock and roll, fam. Let's go.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, Badge killed it last week, man. Ryan, appreciate it, man. We'll get with you a little later for that badge of honor. But, we're coming off another tough loss to the storied Patriots. We're now 0-2 against the AFC East with 2 more back-to-back games against the East. In these next 2 weeks. So as a game, everyone, had us losing it. But, we stayed in the fight on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. And ultimately, I guess you could say ultimately the special team shit the bed on us. B. Diddy, I know you had us getting the brakes beat off of us in this game against the Patriots. Did the competitiveness in this game surprise you, man?
I picked them to win last week. That was a hard choice, not a head choice. But they played well enough to stay in the game. I just think that we were talented enough to beat them, and I think we're talented enough to beat any team in the league when we're playing to our full potential. And we just need to see that again. I don't know what happened since the bye week. But
right.
I think you have to get back. The good coaches coach the game plan around their talent, not force their game plan on a team regardless of what's going on. Like dropping certain guys back in coverage last week. There were certain parts that were rough. Ultimately, we did stay in the game, but I just think we do have the potential to handle a team like the Patriots if we're playing to our full potential.
Yeah, I think so too. Gaines, did you see this Bears team keeping up with the Patriots?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There was definitely it was blow for blow, and you take away to beat a team like the Patriots, it takes all 3 phases, and so we can't forget about special teams. It's a factor, and so 14 points off special teams, and I think Doc, somebody posted out the officials' key role in that, illegal blocks in the backs and some other things. But yeah, we were definitely blow for blow, man. But no excuses. We were there at the end. Got to make a play, man. Got to make a play, and it comes from coaching and the players.
Yeah, we were. We were there at the end. We'll get into it a little bit later on how it all got broken down, but we were there, and it's something we could have walked away with. All in all, I think the defense came out flat-footed. They let the Patriots walk right down the field. The Patriots' first 5 plays, they went to their backs. It was either a handoff or a swing pass or an under route to one of their backs. First 5 plays, and they just walked right down into our red zone, just pretty unchallenged.
And Bobby, what Leonard Floyd? What are his strengths, man? It's garbage. It's just no matter where they put him, but whatever.
Yeah.
I think he holds clipboards really well.
Jeez.
We definitely kept up with him, especially to have Tom Brady not on the field for like 5 or 10 minutes. That doesn't happen often. And so not only were we with him, we had a chance to be dominant and keep control of the game, and that's what we failed to do.
Yeah, special teams kept Tom Brady off the field just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into the special team thing because I'm on a, I don't know, I guess I'm even keel on him right now, but I'll tell you why here in a minute. But I honestly think if Michelle stayed on the field that whole game, I think he would have continued to just give us fits. Jared, we've had issues with backs with this defense, man. And like if Michelle didn't go down in the second, he was tearing us up. If he didn't go down in the second, I think the game would have had a totally different outcome. But what adjustments do you think need to be made to cover these backs, man? That's a couple weeks in a row we've been getting beat up by backs.
You got to switch up your coverage schemes. You got to switch up who's in those coverage schemes. Leonard Floyd was abused, and he should not have been in that position, I don't think. But, outside linebackers get put in that position. You've got to cover a running back every once in a while. What's the solution? I don't know if we have a solution on our bench right now. I really don't. I think you guys, they've got to come out and figure it out. You got to come out and make a play.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You can't just be, I don't know what to do. Well, guess what, motherfucker? You got to make a play. You got to go out there and earn your paycheck. Don't Don't be pansy-assing around. Looking at you, club boy, club hands.
I mean, they kind
Preface
of
that bullshit.
They kind of came out and did almost the exact same thing that the Dolphins did to us, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Hey, do you think the blueprint to beating this defense was put out there by Gase and fucking Logains in that Miami game, and now it's just out there. This is how you beat this defense.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was put out there since the second half of the Packer game.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. That's when the defense kind of showed its ass the first time.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was just so much puzzling about what Vic Fangio did in the Patriots game. I don't even know where to begin. I mean, it was obviously talked about on all the shows this week on Bears Barroom. Just wild, nonsensical decisions. Having Mac and Floyd back in coverage so much, having Roquan Smith not on the field. I mean, everybody said we needed to get pressure up the middle, and we just didn't get it. I mean, they didn't beat the man in front of them. They didn't tackle. You had Leonard Floyd on backs and space. That's just disaster. I mean, that's just pure disaster. Like that's like a oh shit. What's going on, Leonard? Oh, it's over. Like, I mean, that James White touchdown was just a joke, like an absolute joke. How do you, it's like, that's almost like you see that, you call a timeout.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, I just, definitely the blueprint is out there, but I don't know if there's is there a blueprint for this defense having no heart and not pursuing and not going after people because
not knowing how to tackle.
Yeah, not knowing how to tackle. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was nice to see Vic a little upset, I guess, at the press conference. But I mean, dude should be a lot more than just a little upset. And apparently we found out that Nagy doesn't know what the hell's going on over there in Vic's little clubhouse where he runs the defense from. So
yeah, I mean that could be two ways, right? I mean, I know they said it on 100 Proof. It could be either that he just doesn't want to embarrass one of his coaches and call him out in front of everybody, or it could be that he just lets Vic do his thing and he really doesn't know what's going on in there. But I mean, look, if we flip this thing around, right, and we're losing games, say we're losing games 13-24 or 9-7, or 9-17 or whatever, like, we'd be calling out this offense and going nuts, saying how garbage they are and that they can't put points on the board and this and that. But now the offense is killing it, and we're still like, oh, yeah, our defense is awesome. But they're giving up a shit ton of fucking points. I mean, Diddy, why is it that it seems like the defense is getting the free pass after giving up all these points? And, like, people are still judging Mitch after, just basically – I mean, he's doing what he needs to do to win fucking football games.
I don't know if they can justify it because of the Mac injury, but this was still a top 10 defense without Mac. So I know his injury does affect the defense, but it is one player. Guys need to step up. I don't know if we got too comfortable when Mac was doing his thing and they just all nonchalant or something, but guys need to step up, man. This is a solid defense, even though Mac's injured. I don't know what Vic's thinking lately. Call the play calling, and it just seems like we've been very stale since the bye week. We're talking about it, like, were they partying before the game in Miami? I don't know, but it must have been a hangover into the next week. So things have slowed down, and they just need to get back to what works.
Yeah, it's like they lost after that bye week. It's like they lost that, that like savagery, like that whole just willingness to come out and fucking punch somebody in the face. And
absolutely. And I think our offense, I mean, Mitch is still putting us in position to win games. Yeah, even though it's not perfect, but he's showing leadership. I mean,
if you take the amount of points that the offense has been putting up and tell anybody preseason that this is what your defense is going to look like and this is how many offensive points you're going to put up a game, there's no way. You'd have to be stupid to say that they're dropping 2 straight like that. You
Oh,
know what I
absolutely.
mean?
Yeah, and what's crazy is like living in New England, normally after a game like that, I get a lot of shit talking from Pats fans, and it wasn't like that. They were like, you know what, Mitch actually seems like a smart quarterback, and the Bears are legit. That's the feedback I'm getting, and that's for a Patriots fan to give you any credit.
Yeah.
So other people are seeing it. I think sometimes I tend to put things under a microscope, but from the outside looking in, fan base wise, people have respect for the Bears. It's just we need to put it all together on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I don't think we have much time left though before that whole Patriot fan base retires, because they're all leaving with Bill and Tom.
Don't you guys think that historically the Bears have always given the defense a pass in this town? I mean, it's just kind of our default mode. We the defense is fine. The defense will figure itself out. Let's really analyze the crappy play of this quarterback. Let's really chew that up.
How long has it been since we've had an offense putting up this many points?
I agree. I just don't think we know what to do with it as a fan base. Like, we don't even know. It's like all of a sudden, it's something we can't even comprehend comes on the screen.
But the crazy,
get away from me.
Crazy thing is, we have a defense good enough to bail out our offense, and we have an offense good enough to bail out our defense. But if we put them both together, like I said, we can compete with anybody in this league. It's just a matter of getting it all going.
Yeah. I mean, let's not. Go ahead, Jerry.
You can't underestimate the injury of Sam Acho and him not being out there. I think that makes a big difference on this defense.
Really?
It's a guy. I think he's a solid guy that could spell guys like Mack and guys like Leonard Floyd, and he's not there. When you lose that guy, he's a glue guy. He does everything well. He doesn't do anything necessarily great, but he kind of does everything well. And when you lose that piece, I mean, that's a big loss.
Yeah, well, do you think we give up that touchdown to Cordell Patterson, that 95-yard touchdown, if Acho's still on special teams team?
I mean, if the receiving team's allowed to block everybody in the fucking back, then yeah, I think.
Yeah, right.
I think we do.
That's true.
But the thing about the special teams touchdowns is that Brady was still going to get the ball. I like, that's what kills me about those, is like we blame those special teams touchdowns, but Brady was still getting the ball even if we don't give up those touchdowns. He was going to get it off the punt. He was getting off the kick, and I don't trust the defense to stop him at all. Like,
right.
So it's not like it's 14 versus 0 points. I look at it as like it's either 14 versus 6 or 14 versus 10. I mean, those were huge mistakes, but it's the kind of thing that the Patriots do to opposing teams all the time. I mean, they take advantage of opportunities. They make their own opportunities. And at the end of the day, like, I just think, Brady goes right down the field on us both times. So it's like, those are big. But
I know we're giving the offense a lot of credit, but and we'll get into special teams here in a second. We got Gaines coming up with a little special team deal. But I mean, Nikki, look at our offense came out. They started pretty slow, even though, I mean, they put up a lot of points, but they started pretty slow. The first 2 drives, they hardly got shit done. The first 2 drives, I think Mitch is the only reason he scrambled for 2 first downs on those first 2 drives. I mean, they're not the team, the initial drive offenses that they were the first couple of weeks. What do you think needs to be done to get this team down the field? First drive, put it in, points on the board, and kind of go into attack mode.
Well, see, that seems to be the repeating scheme lately. The offense has been slow to start. Sometimes it takes them up until the third quarter to really get moving. And I think a lot of it is attributed to either just trying to find the running game, and B, just getting acclimated and adjusted, see what their defense is going to show, see if they're going to show anything early. I think all those things have to come in a factor. And most of their first 15 or so plays are scripted. So, and you can't really predict what the defense is going to do on the other side of the ball, but you're going to stick with your game plan. So I think, it's meant that way for a purpose. They're just getting their timing down. They're starting to get in their rhythm, their feel, their groove. I mean, you got to remember the Bears offense has 14 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and they only had 4 in the first 3. Mitch's last games. Mitch's last games, he's thrown for 103 or 1,003 yards, 11 TDs, and has 181 rushing yards and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, but the problem is we're not putting it all together. Like we all were saying that after the first couple weeks, I know the common statement was, oh, the only time that they can fucking play well is when they come out and have these scripted plays, and that's the only time we're scoring and da-da-da. Well, now we can't even come out and fucking play well. We don't come out the gate hot. We sit back, relax. I won't say relax, but it's a bunch of shit, just a shit show, and then we turn it on after that.
I think it's more of could be like a poker face mentality. Like they want to see what's going on with the defense first before they sit back and start launching.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck that. Go for the throat right now.
Yeah, attack the defense.
But that also mixes they're trying to get the running game going early. Okay, but the problem with sitting back and relaxing and seeing what the defense is going to give you is then you put yourself in a position to have an unbalanced attack on offense. Now you have to start passing the ball more, and you kind of tend to forget about the rushing because then you're behind. So the defense has got to step up in that first half too and really shut the opponents down.
I mean, that's why you scout teams. That's why you watch tape. Like, you shouldn't have to see what the defense is going to do and fucking come out and attack at halftime. That you have to play all 4 quarters. You know what I'm saying? Like, the running game opens up the passing game. The passing game opens up the running game. Like, whatever. That's your job. You're a fucking coach. Like, it shouldn't take you to halftime to figure out what they're going to do.
Do you think that's really happening, though? Because I don't know if it's...
I don't think it is. I think
he's trying to attack. I think it's just the execution.
Yeah. And, I mean, there is some shit play calling. There was a couple series where they actually built off the play calling, and it looked pretty slick. Like they moved downfield. I think Grody was talking about it on BHL, but there's a couple where they no shit built off of play calls and that. But then there's a couple where they're not building off the play calling. There's a couple of drives where it's just like, hey, let's try this. Like, throw this out there. Let's see what happens.
Well, that's because I think they still, as has been said, they do not know what their bread and butter is. They don't know. Nagy doesn't know. Mitch doesn't know. Jordan Howard, sure as hell doesn't know what their bread and butter is. So they don't have like a baseline of what the offense does. This is what we're good at. I think the one thing about the Patriot game that they did establish in that way is Trey Burton. The guy showed up. The guy did what we thought he was going to do in every game this year. I mean, over the middle, underneath, exposing the zone, getting open. Mitch hitting him and then doing damage on the yards after catch. I'm not sure why it took this long to find that, but that was a strong takeaway from what the offense did. It was like, okay, good. Like, this is, this guy needs to be a staple. I mean, for me, why that guy doesn't get 10 targets a game, is beyond me. Again, it's like, I just think Nagy is still trying to be the smartest man in the room, show everybody his fancy offense. And also, I think he's really, really, really trying to still build Mitch's confidence and show everybody how good Mitch can be. And I think that's a detriment sometimes. It's like, let's win the damn game. Let's do what needs to be done to win the game.
Yeah.
Mitch is also more accurate in the second half than he is in the first. Do you guys think there's a reason for that?
I think he's too hyped up in the beginning.
In his rhythm.
I think he's a little too hyped up. To be honest, because you see the ball sail in the beginning, in the early parts of the game pretty consistently, and that's probably from him being too hyped.
I think a lot of that, though, also goes with the defensive coordinators throwing different looks at him and trying to confuse him. I mean, it's not like he has a lot of experience back there, and it takes him a little while to pick up what's going on, and he's got to go back to the sidelines and look at formations and look at stuff and see how they're attacking him in order to pick it apart.
I had this vision.
The Jets like to blitz.
All right. Well, Jared, once again, we have another week where we play to the potential of our opponents. We're a 3-3 team who, we've had 5 out of our first out of our first 6 games decided by 7 or less points. I mean, when are we going to find a way to just, put these teams away, man?
Good question. Good question. It starts with, I don't know. We were talking about the offense, and you said something about the run game. It's like, yeah, you can't forget about the run game if you don't even think about it to begin with.
Yeah.
And I had this vision of the guy pointing to his head. It's like, we don't even think about it. We can't forget it. It's like, that's where it starts, man. You got to start by, I think, for me, it always starts up front. You've got to dominate the trenches. You've got to quit playing down to the potential of our opponents. I think New England was a winnable game, and even though I did pick us to lose, I thought, that's a game we can win. And quit trying to be the smartest guys, like Aaron was saying. Just go out, execute. I think we're close. I'm so sick of being close. It's like, you're almost good, but
I mean, we've showed we can do it. I mean, we've had the lead in every game, dude. Every game we've played this year, we've had the lead. It's not like we're overmatched in any specific area. I mean, my question is basically, we can't keep the lead, so are we just strictly outcoached?
I mean, yes. Yes. Vic does not make adjustments. The adjustments he makes are just head scratching at best. Nagy, at times he could look like a genius, but it's like he's always trying to look like a genius. Like that is his MO, is to show you his fanciness, like get the fuck out of here with the trick plays, run your best plays, run what works.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he even, I think he knows what works sometimes, but he's just got so many like, it's time to try this out. It's time to try this out. It's time to make, Bradley Soul eligible receiver. And it's time to have Chase Daniel again in the, come in the game and, just stop. Like, stop it. Like someone needs to slap that Denny's menu out of his hand and just be like, stop. You get four Tecmo Bowl plays. That's it. You get run left, run right. You get this play where there's 3 wide, and then you get this other play where there's 4 wide. Pick one. That's all you get. And let those guys go out there and because we had the better team, we had the better talent, and because Bonk and Sony Michel were out there. So and this has happened basically in every game we've played. We have had the better talent on the field, period. Almost every phase of the game, we've had the better talent. So you ask yourself, is it coaching? Sure, it's coaching. It's also execution. The defense doesn't know how to tackle, but we've had the better team, and so I think we're definitely getting outcoached. And getting outcoached by Bill Belichick there's not shame in that per se.
Right.
But at the same time, like trying to outsmart Belichick, I don't know if that's the best path, and I think that's what happened with Nagy is, again, he tried to, smart him. And
Nagy got in Nagy's head.
Yeah, but ultimately we stayed with a team that's probably going to compete to be in the Super Bowl, and we stayed with them to the last play. So think about where we were last year and where we are now. That is a positive. I know losses suck, but we did compete with the Super Bowl.
Who is that? Who's talking?
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
Diddy doesn't
I was just going to say that.
Positivity around?
No.
Who's that?
I don't think you've ever heard that.
I've never heard this dude be positive.
I was saying, holy crap, is that actually Diddy saying this?
All right, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up this recap with the special teams. I know everybody's saying that the special teams killed us on this thing, with the kick return going back, the pump block. But Gaines, I mean, the same special teams recovered a fumble against the same kick return team. We had a punt that bounced off of Edelman's chest that we should have recovered. But either way, we pinned him deep. I mean, yeah, they gave up, and granted, I get it. They gave up the 2 touchdowns, but they also got us a touchdown, got us the ball, pinned the offense deep. I mean, Gaines, how do you chalk up this performance and coaching of the special teams?
Like you just said, Bob. I mean, it's an even wash. Exactly what you just said. What they gave up and what they contributed to the team. The only thing that I'm disturbed about the special teams about is those kick returns. Like AA said, the Pats probably would have done something with it, but we had such an opportunistic defense.
Yeah.
We took away the possible chances for a turnover for our defense. That's what I was concerned about, because we caused the fumble, or we caused those different fumbles, and to have Brady, I'd rather have Brady drive down the field, because besides Edelman and with Michelle with Mike going out, we had chances and opportunities. That's what it was about. So rather getting a straight 14, like AA said, it probably would have been a 6 or a 10, but I'll take that. I'll take that in a heartbeat.
Right, and the Patterson play was just a backbreaker. I mean, we go up by 10, and we're feeling good about ourselves, and then it's just like boom, gut punch. I mean, that sucked.
And it just seems it's like we haven't been going against them that often, but it just seems the refs get that special briefcase from the Pats, and it's like they see what they want to see, because that there was a more obvious illegal block in the back that just should have completely just like takes the air out of us. And so, but there's no excuses, man. There's no excuses. And like AA was saying, I hope the players are pissed off about all these poor tackling comments. Come out and show us that you're mad about it. I hope they keep asking about it. I hope somebody says something about it to a pregame, because be pissed off of listen to Amos talk about it. Just wrap up, man. And like you said, if Acho was on the field, it could make a difference. But still, stay in your lane. But the guys were in their lane. That's what really sucks.
Yeah.
When you are in your lane and it still goes wrong. But there's no excuses. It doesn't come down. It's not about one play. It's not about one play. It's about what we can do going forward. And we got comfortable late. And you can't give dudes like Brady a Belichick time. And like we said, we got our coach.
The one thing that I'd like, the whole turnover deal and that, and they return the kick and they block a punt. That punt block shit. I mean, I think I won't say we're all against O'Donnell, but I've had problems with his fucking the number of steps he takes and the amount of time he takes to get rid of the ball. But why?
He's still winding up.
Dude,
winding up the dick.
But why the fuck is Benny Cunningham still returning kicks?
Nobody knows.
He has done it in his bag. He's done it in the past.
He has done it in the past?
But he hasn't done it well in the past.
Well, he did.
He's a guy who, has been known as a guy who will definitely catch the ball, and he's like a safe kind of hand guy. That's the way he's been seen in his career. He's not a guy who's going to break one. I mean, he's done it, but I think he was in a Rams uniform, and I think the Rams were probably playing in St. Louis. I don't know when.
He's more likely to break a hip than he has a long run.
Well, who else do we have? I mean, do you want to put Cohen or Gabriel out there, risk injury?
Hey, what does Ryan know? I wish I could be flying the wall at practices. I mean, it's all about practice. Whatever you do during the week, that's who's going to go out there on the field. And so if I'm right now, I'm like, Coach, give me a shot. Give me a shot. Let me do it. That's how we used to do it.
To answer Diddy's question, yes. I would rather have Taylor Gabriel or Cohen or somebody who has some kind of game-breaking ability touching the ball when we have a chance for somebody to touch the ball. I mean, Brent, like these guys should have Cunningham. I know he's like Tariq Cohen's boy. So I guess that's why he's around. He's like a safety backup. Do not in case of emergency break glass guy. But yeah, I'd rather have anybody else touch the ball.
Well, that might have been. I mean, Gabriel's important to the offense.
So are you saying Edelman's not important to the Patriots offense?
Exactly. And Deshaun Jackson. I mean, there's other guys there's other star wide receivers that do this.
Why the hell don't we kick it into the end zone? Why the hell does Cordero even have a damn chance to run that ball back? What a joke. I mean, sorry, Cody Parkey, what the hell is he even doing? Like, there should be no reason why Cordero, is catching that ball where he catches it and having a chance to do that. But that's what the Patriots do. They practice everything.
All right, boys, we've been on this one enough. Let's roll past these Patriots. We're going to roll into the Barfly spotlight. Myself and AA had a conversation with Greg Braggs Jr. yesterday. The man, he's out there putting up all the videos, the pics. The dude he goes off. I'm sure we've all seen him. Yeah, he's all over the place, man. He's actually going to the game today. He's in the chat room right now. We had Greg in yesterday for the Barfly Spotlight segment, so we got a little pre-recorded piece for you guys to learn a little bit more about Greg, and we'll be back with you here shortly, and let's go from here. Okay, Barflies, we're back with the Barfly Spotlight. This week we got the man, Greg Braggs Jr. He's the man behind the lens from camp. He's bringing us all kinds of videos and pics and coverage of games. I mean, it seems like this dude's at every home game that we got. You guys remember he was on BHL during training camp where him and the draft doctor broke down some of the coverage and some of the videos. He met up with a bunch of guys out there. Just Greg continuously bringing it. Greg, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing?
What's up, boys?
What's up?
Excited to be on with the Tailgate crew finally. I've been enjoying your guys' shows here each and every Sunday, starting off my day.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. All right. Well, you guys know how this goes. I'm going to kick this thing over to AA. AA is going to run down the Barfly Spotlight, kicking some questions over to Braggs, and, we'll close it out once you guys are done. So, AA, it's all you, brother.
Cool. Thanks, Bobby. We got Greg Braggs Jr., the man, the myth, the legend, the man who brings us the live films from camp. I got to say, you really inspired me to get down to camp this year. I had never been to Bears training camp before, and watching your videos on Twitter, really inspired me to go down there and just check it out. And I'm glad I did. I got to meet you, met Aldo, met BG, and it was just, it's a cool time. It's, it's just mellow, and, the Bears put on a great production. I after seeing that, I'm sure a lot of people were in the same boat of being inspired by that. So just talk a little bit about, how your Bears fandom and how you started going to camp, and kind of how all that got going.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. That's kind of why I did some of the videos to start out. I've always wanted to show people how amazing it is. I tell people all the time, "Oh, come with me, come to camp. It's so much fun." I call it such a magical place because you go there and you're right there next to the players. I mean, people spend thousands of dollars. How much do people spend to sit first row for the Patriots game? You can go for free and watch these guys practice. For me, it was the first time I went, I was just in love. I don't live too far from there, so it made it a little easier. And I couldn't believe people didn't go. So for me as a Bears fan, I never went to Platteville, so I didn't know that stuff. And I grew up loving the Bears, and the 90s were tough just as a Bears fan, but you're always watching the Bears on Sundays no matter how they are, and it was easy, with Michael Jordan back in the day, it was easy for fans to forget, about football here and there, but the Bears are always, first in everyone's heart in this city. And once they started getting good was right around the time they moved to Olivet Nazarene. And that was about 17, 18, 20 years ago. And that was when I first started going. And it was a lot of fun. They were an upstart team each year, 02, 03, not much expectations. And then it just kind of took off once Lovie Smith came here. And then all the big dogs started coming in. You had Lance Briggs and Peanut Tillman and Devin Hester. And for me, that's where my real, how I'm such a hardcore fan now, how I'm at everything now. That's where that truly started, was those days, because once I started seeing that team, I couldn't get enough. I could not get enough of Devin Hester, guys like that, to see that kind of elite talent right in front of your face. It's what makes me the Bears fan I am today. And so I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I try to get as many Bears fans to come to training camp as I can. It's so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it is, I guess I never really thought about going because I always felt like that, I don't know, that it wouldn't be as intimate of a setting as it is. Like, I just kind of thought, oh, it's going to be, kind of like you're far away and you don't really get to see much, or like, they're inside most of the day and then they come out and like throw a couple passes and go back inside. But I mean, you're right there and they don't, you just walk around and it's just super chill and you can, they're really right there, it just live, and it's kind of just like you're a part of the team in a way. So I and it gives you kind of a different sort of personal feel, for the squad, and and you almost feel like you're a part of it. I mean, I imagine that's how you feel since you're literally there almost every single day of camp. You must feel like you have like a personal ownership of this team and the teams in the past. What's a favorite memory for you of camp, if you have one, of the years you've been going?
Oh man, I've got more than a few, and
pick one or two maybe.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, the first time I saw Devin Hester is probably for me what stands out. But another one that really stands out was the first year with Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey. It was a difference in an offense we had never seen before, and that really stood out. One-handed catches, guys making top catch, Randy Moss type, Alshon Jeffrey making Randy Moss type catch. It was that stood out to me. And then maybe my funniest memories were the fights, Martellus Bennett, things like that, or everyone yelling at anybody with dreadlocks, Hester, sign this. And Devin Roach is like, I'm not Devin Hester. And I'm like, no one cares, buddy. Sign it. Those were the fun. Mike Brown running right past me, jumping over the thing, just a few little ones. It is a very intimate setting. It's too hard to pick just one, that's for sure.
So when did you start doing the videos? Like, how did that come about? And is that fairly recent, or have you always been doing that?
I guess I've always probably done pictures and videos. I mean, the phone quality wasn't that good back in the day, but so I never really probably saved those videos. It's frustrating because I probably could have uploaded all those to Facebook and still been able to go back and see them today, but I didn't because that's not really what people did back then. But probably started once the phone started getting better. I'd say around the Trestman era is when I really started putting things on Instagram like crazy. I wasn't putting it on Twitter as much. And then in the last couple of years is where I started putting things on Twitter, and that's where it kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
And is that kind of where your involvement with Bears Barroom came about? Was this season, or was it prior to that?
Yeah, Bears Girl reached out to me quickly after a couple days of going to camp, and I had already been following most of the personalities at Bears Barroom, and Draft Dr. Phil being one of them. And when they contacted me, I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. You guys want to hear me talk about the Bears? I was like, all right.
Nice, that's awesome.
So then now I've kind of become a loyalist because you guys have just been such a kind of brought me in with open arms, and I met you down at Camp Aaron and everybody else, and it's just such a great family to be a part of. I couldn't see why anybody wouldn't want to be a part of Bears Barroom.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's. I think everybo's got stories of just meeting great people that they have in common. Something that's just the love of the Bears. And it's kind of like we've gone through. We have the tears and the cheers and the blood and the sweat of it all. To kind of commiserate with and
shared misery.
Yeah, it's like I got to meet Scar from the Mott's last night at my restaurant, and right away we were just talking about. I mean, we started talking about Johnny Knox, and like the look on him and his wife's face about Johnny Knox was like it had just happened. I mean, they were just. His wife was just like, I felt sick. She's like, I'm in the medical industry, and she's like, I thought he wasn't going to walk. And I mean, we're talking about this like it happened yesterday. You know what I mean? And it's cool to, to immediately have that in common with people, and I think that's obviously what Bears Barroom brings. And that's what's cool about, going down to camp is like everybody's, I mean, if you're at camp, you're serious, I mean, there's some casual people there, obviously, and there's a lot of people yelling out the wrong names and, But at the end of the day, like, you're not there if you don't like the Bears, although there are some Jags and Packer gear that Brad does a great job of pointing out.
Boo this man!
And shaming. That's probably my favorite thing that you do is shame wherever you see them in a respectful way, not in an super jerky way, but at the same time, you let them know. You let them know that they're on enemy territory.
You got Ryan Pace to boo him with me one time. That was the best.
Yeah, I saw that. I remember that. That was awesome.
That's awesome. I was thinking, it seems to me, and it seems to a lot of us, that this year the Bears have made a pretty significant shift in the PR, and the social media and the access. And I mean, I know that it started with Pace, and it's been something he's been, working on. And I think now that Nagy's here and he's on board, have you noticed that? Have you noticed the Bears really, making a change in the culture and in the way that they are with the fans and the media and things this season?
100%. I think it even started last year, and they brought in the new quarterback and Tariq, and then Pace, was starting. People were saying he was already lining up his next head coach. You could really see them already trying to build the culture last year. I mean, Mitch and Tariq were really setting the tone to me, and that's what I saw. And now this year, it was like tenfold when they brought all these guys in if you look at the social media staff, even last year, the way they were putting out the videos, everybody's trying to catch up to like what Cubs Twitter does or whatever, Now you're starting to see them kind of hype the squad a little more. And that's all I ever try to do. I just like to hype the boys, and you definitely see that presence on their social media stuff, and Cameron Good and Jen Talicki and those guys, they do a great job of doing it. And so you're definitely seeing that they're trying to like build the culture, and I think Mitch is at the front of that.
Right, for sure. And obviously you're a huge Cubs fan. People that follow you know that. I mean, I think you named your daughter Addison, and but I think that it's funny because I feel like the Blackhawks winning and having their little mini dynasty kind of gave people in Chicago this taste of parades, and winning and things like that. But, hockey is hockey, and it doesn't, it resonates with people to some degree. But then the Cubs winning, I mean, that really kind of, I think, not only invigorated the city, and kind of fired everybody up, but I think it also kind of put the other organizations on notice, that like, look, this is what can happen if you really engage this fan base, if you really kind of awaken the sleeping giant of fans, in this city. I mean, because Chicago, I think, has a fan base and fans that are second to none in the country. In terms of passion, in terms of involvement, in terms of, naming their kids and dogs and cars and, everything after players, I think the Cubs really proved, hey, look, this is what can happen. I mean, there can be a freaking hundreds of thousands of people in Grant Park, like, going bananas. And I think the Bears, they noticed that, and I think the Bulls are slowly coming around and, kind of noticing, maybe it's a good idea to do that. And so that's what's been cool. I mean, I think, the involvement that you can now have with the team, and, the way you can kind of touch, and interact. And I think the players that Pace has brought in have been so, have been smartly chosen, and, so that's just been cool. And I think, your videos and all that's been a part of that. And I think that's one of the cool things the Bears have done is they haven't, sort of put the kibosh on some of that stuff. Have you encountered resistance from them ever about your videos or anything like that?
I did have a guy approach me at camp and was kind of asking me what I was doing, and I kind of explained, I'm just having fun and shooting this stuff. And I even approached, if you believe it or not, I approached George McCaskey about this, and I told him, I was like, hey man, this is something people are thirsty for. They want to see this stuff. They want to meet. They want to understand the players. You hit the nail on the head with it being about getting to know the player on a personal level, and that's what I was what I was trying to tell him. I was like, hey man, this is an untapped market. No, the fans can truly appreciate a player even more if they see the kind of person they are, not just under a helmet. And and that's why with the Cubs, and not to go back, but that's why the Bears are kind of doing what the Cubs did, because it's not just one guy. It's like 20 guys that all have great characters, great personalities. You're attracted to that. So it doesn't work for every team, because you can't be lucky to have all the great, huge personalities that great teams have. That's just an ingredient that a great team has. So it's Mitch and Tariq and Turbo and Allen being the steady pro, and you got Trey Burton, and you got so many guys now. So they actually did approach me about it, to go back to your point, but I did not get much blowback, because they've known me. I'm not a secret to them. I harass all their people, including the owners. So they knew who I was, and they were like, no, Greg, we're not giving you a job, but we love what you do. Have fun and go on about your way. And that's what I kept on doing. I was like, all right, cool. I'm definitely glad they didn't stop me, and I think the players are too, because you saw so much of them retweeting it and putting it out there, and they certainly were telling me at camp how much they loved it. So I love hearing that feedback, because it definitely makes me feel a part of it in a small way. But I'm just trying to hype the squad, because I felt like everyone was sleeping on them before the year started.
Right. Well, and that's so unique. For you to be able to just talk to George McCaskey, that's amazing. You know what I mean? And people say what they say about the McCaskies and this, that, and the other, but George is out there. He's in among the people. He's at the tailgates, he's at the camp, he's at, walking around the stadium. And I think that's awesome. But I also think that it was kind of like a secret, like not that many people knew that about him, and he was just doing it. He wasn't doing it for publicity. He wasn't doing it for, for any of that. And I think that, in the last couple of years, I don't know if it's Virginia getting old and wanting to see them win before she goes, or whatever the case may be, I think that where the team was under Tressman and then where it ended up under Fox, it hurt them. They definitely were, they were not, they were hurt by where the team was and where the fan base was. And I think, it's been a personal decision for them to do things the way that they're doing, and to bring pace in and to change the level of interaction, and hopefully that can continue to trickle down, and maybe we'll get rid of this kind of strange sort of negative stigma that the Bears and the media and because there's times where as a Bears fan, I don't know if other Bears fans even want them to be good. Do you ever get that sense? Do you ever get that sense that Bears fans kind of like them being their little, like weird codependent partner of failure, in a sense? Is that weird?
I definitely see it. You sense that from certain fans, and I think it's because the mainstream media for so long has shed them in such a negative light. Right. In some ways, it's been so long since they've written positive articles about them, and so now you get fans that don't trust them. They think it's going to be same old Bears, different day, and so instead of getting their hopes up, they just speak negative, and then when those come to fruition, they don't have to be let down. And I'm definitely not that type of fan. I'm always thinking, as many wins as possible, but that's definitely what it is. I think fans just have. They just can't see the positive yet, because they're so caught up in what maybe the mainstream media is writing, and not paying attention to some of the things that they can pay attention to on their own or from different outlets like Bears Bar Room.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what's cool about this season, is that it does feel different, and I think that Nagy's got a different approach than I've seen from some Bears coaches in the past, where he'll just say it, hey, we're not going to be Debbie Downers, we're not going to dwell on negative stuff, which is, I think, sometimes what the media wants, and maybe it's for clickbait, and maybe it's for, maybe it's just force of habit. I mean, I think, after a while, some of these guys at the Sun-Times and the Tribune they don't even know how to write a positive piece about the Bears.
I think they get mad about how the Bears treat the media. You saw it this year at camp. They pushed them off the field, and now they're at a section where they can barely even see the whole field of the play. I'm getting a better angle of everything than they are, and they're trying to work. And, so I think they get mad. Last year they were crying all camp about not being able to take pictures of Peyton Manning at Hallis Hall because the Bears wanted to put out their pictures of Peyton Manning. And so I think they get mad because of how restricted they are as far as being able to put out the content they want to put out. And that's where you see this friction. And then I think that turns into people easier on writing negative articles, Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that might be
to an extent.
That might be something that the Bears look at. But I think at the end of the day, what's happened now is that the teams are their own media outlets. So they would rather control the content, and to some degree the narrative, although I don't think the Bears, are particularly guilty of creating a narrative, but I think, they would just rather control the content, and if they're good at it, that's great. And I think that luckily the Bears are good at it right now. There are certainly a lot of teams that are not good at it and are trying to do the same thing. And you'll see that with the Cubs, especially when they launch their own network. I mean, it's gonna, that's what it's gonna be. That I'm sure that they'll start to, close ranks a little bit with regard to that. But I think, hopefully they strike a balance because, whether people like it or not, the columnists that are still around and the newspapers and stuff, that stuff's still important. And I think.
100%.
It does, it does still shape people's opinions, and whatnot. So, but it's cool that they let you do your thing. And, when I was there at camp, nobody bugged me. Nobody really asked me anything about filming or, at the end of the day, you just kind of have free run of the place. It felt like if I wanted to, I could run right out on the field. They probably wouldn't be cool about that. But, it didn't have like this, intense kind of security atmosphere about it, where it was like, don't go over here, don't go over there, So I hope that they, that moving forward, the media and the Bears can get a little more of a simpatico going. But if not, it's more opportunity for stuff like what we do, Bears Barroom. That comes from more of a pure place. It comes from, a fandom as opposed to, like what a lot of these guys do, which we try not to do, which is create narratives and, clickbait and things like that. So, yeah, man, it's cool. I mean, we, obviously everybody at the Bear Room is huge fans of you. And, it's just been great watching you do your thing. And I always go to you and, and see what you're tweeting about, what you're talking about, because you do stay so positive, which is an amazing thing to stay so positive sometimes about the Bears. I mean, it's sometimes they make it a little hard, over the years. So how do you stay so positive? Like, what's your advice for Bears fans that maybe need a little shot in the arm of positivity?
Well, I don't know. I guess it's just a mindset. I've always been the type of person that tries to wake up with a positive attitude, go to work with a positive attitude, no matter how my day is going. So, even when it comes to my sports teams, to me, it takes more effort to be negative than it does to be positive. And it's not fun to live that way. So why do it? It's like, so for me, if you try to find the good things, and with sports, everybody can try to figure out the Da Vinci Code of each season, but nobody knows what's going to happen. And so for you to start every year and be like, oh, like last year, where people like, oh, I want the second pick in the draft, like, come on, guys, let's get Mitch out there and see how many wins we can get. That's what I was saying before last year. And now this year, it's like, 7-8 wins, that'll be great. No, let's make the playoffs. How does that sound? I'm winning the Super Bowl. You only get a window, and you don't know if that could close next year. You don't know. So to be like, 2019, 2020, those are our years. No, this is our year. This is our opportunity right now. Next year is next year. You see what happens when that comes. So as a Bears fan that sees the talent and sees a schedule that has opportunity in front of it, there's no reason not to think that they can't make the playoffs, and then it's anybody's chance when they get there. I mean, you saw it with the Eagles last year, with a backup quarterback win the Super Bowl and drop a 50-burger on the Patriots. I mean, it is totally possible. I mean, if don't sell this season short, even after these last two disappointing losses. That's what a football season's about. So that's how I look at it as a Bears fan, and I hope other people do too. To focus on the negatives is just silly.
What do you think about the Jets game, and then what do you think about the next little stretch here, and without going into the kind of predictions that not everybody loves, and it sounds like you don't love. Like, where do you think this team's headed after those couple of losses?
Well, I'm always scared of predictions because I'm afraid of jinxing things. Sometimes I get aggressive with my predictions. Like, I'll be aggressive to my neighbor with my predictions, but I won't put them out there because I get scared. I don't want to jinx things.
Yeah.
And so, but this is a must-win, this Jets game. It's no getting around it for the Bears or Bears fans or anything. If they don't win this game, then it is panic train for a lot of people, maybe even including myself. So, but I do not expect that. I expect them to come out with a force, and I expect them to win the game. And as far as the short-term future, they have 4 winnable games coming up. And I put it out there last week. Like I said, I'm always a little hesitant to get chesty with my predictions, but I said, wouldn't it be great if the Bears won 4 in a row before Thanksgiving and we could wake up with a chance for 5 straight that morning? And I had a lot of good feedback on that, and I'm kind of starting to say that's what it's gonna be. So I like I said, I don't want to jinx it, but I'm gonna put it out there. I think these next 4, I think the Bears are gonna go on a run here, and they definitely need to win 3 of the next 4 at the very least, in my opinion. So that's just how I look at it as a fan, and I definitely think those games are winnable. And then when they get into the second half of the season, you just got to scrap your way to get to 10. And then, you got to hope, that this division levels off. Minnesota looks all right, but the rest of it's kind of still iffy. And, you just got to battle. You got to get as many wins as you can before the 8-game mark, and then kind of start scrapping for those last few to get to 10 in December.
For sure. Well, cool, man. Thanks so much. You always bring it, and it's the same today. And we really appreciate you coming on with us, and your support of the Tailgate show and all the Bears Barroom shows is always great. When you jump on MixLR with any of the Bears Barroom, chances are you're going to see Greg in there in the chat room interacting. And it's just awesome. So we appreciate you, and I know there's going to be a lot of people out at the tailgate for the game tomorrow. You're going to be there?
Yes, sir. I'll be out there bright and early.
Is there a spot where you normally? Sorry, is there a spot where you normally at, or you kind of move around?
Yeah, I'm all over the place. It kind of depends on who I'm with. I used to always park at the McCormick tailgate lot that opens real early, but sometimes I'm in South Lot, and now where Scar and those boys are going to be at this spot, this private lot in Wabash, because they got kicked out of the old lot because they had such a huge they told them they had to go over there, so I might go find my way that way. You never know. I'm all over the place, as you know.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on with us, man. Thanks for giving us the time. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Maybe we'll hit you up tomorrow with a little no shit tailgating. And see how that thing goes.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to try to pop on, maybe get you guys some side tailgate interview with Scar and company or somebody like that. Hopefully I can run into the gang and stuff. And I really appreciate you guys having me on. You know, it is a great, thrill for me every morning to wake up and be able to listen to the Barfly Tailgate show and get my Bears Sunday morning going. And you guys do a great job. All you guys, Little Nicky, B Diddy, Air Jer, Gaines, Joey, Mandel, and Tooch, and you guys. You guys are a great big group of personalities, and I enjoy listening to it. It is a great listen for somebody that's been listening to radio my whole life. You guys, do a good job of keeping it light and keeping it fun, and talking about all the things, that I want to hear about as a Bears fan.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Brother.
That means a lot.
All right, Barflies. You can check out Greg at G Braggs Jr. on Twitter. If you ain't following this dude, you're definitely missing out. Greg, thanks again, man. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Brother, we look forward to any of those sideline videos and stuff you put out during the game, so we'll be watching out for it, man. Thanks again for joining the show.
Bear it down, Barflies.
Bear it down. All right, guys, that was Braggs. Dude, Braggs is the shit, man. We appreciate him coming on and, wanting to do the Barfly Spotlight. He was hitting me up last week. Unfortunately, I had some other things going on, but Braggs is he's always coming with a lot of shit, man. If any of you guys are interested in coming on the show, hit us up. The Barfly Spotlight segment. Like we said, Greg's headed to the game today, so we might attempt to reach out to him later if we got some time. Hit up that tailgate scene with him and the Mott's crew. They're all going to be out there together. But let's go ahead and get into today's game against these Jets and see what the Bears are going up against. I want to start this thing off with the Jets defense. It's a team that's definitely better than they've shown in some games. But I think, we could say a lot about that we're the same way. Their defense comes in ranked 21st overall, giving up 371 yards a game, 266 passing, 105 rushing. Little Nicky, let's start this one off with you, man. How do you see Coach Nagy attacking this defense today?
Well, I would like to see a balanced offense. Let's see if we can get that running game going for starters. We're going up against a team that has, 15 sacks, Bobby? I'm pretty sure they have 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah.
Leonard Williams is their leader in sacks at 3. Jamal Adams has 36 total tackles solo. Darren Lee has 3 picks to himself. So we got to get out there and we got to keep our foot on the gas. Once we get that lead, man, keep punching it, keep hitting it, punch them right in the mouth, and do not let up. That's how we have to roll with that.
Just keep going after it. Hey, what about you, man? How do you think we come out and attack this team today? And is this do you see this being more of a shootout game or more of a Tampa game?
Well, I hope that the Jets are not able to do anything on offense. I mean, they're obviously heavily depleted in that department. I mean, I think this is the definition of a get-right game. So we need to get right, we need to run the ball. We need to figure out what the bread and butter is. We need to go to Trey Burton. Allen Robinson's not going to play. So I'm looking for a big game from Anthony Miller. Maybe Kevin White gets some targets. I just want to see sustained drives and, some good, hang your hat on it offense. I don't want to see them trying all types of craziness and trick plays and whatnot. I want to see them, go out there and beat a team they should beat decidedly. That's all.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I don't know. It's like we say this every week, hands down or whatever. I think the only time we've said it's going to be a tough game is against the Patriots. Every other game we're like, oh, yeah, we should, blow the doors off of this and that. And we find a way to keep it, a competitive game. Gaines, their linebacking core of the Jets, they're considered the strength of the team. But then, they get attacked in the passing game and they give up a ton of yards. That Jaguars game, Bortles just destroyed them. Do you see us getting after these guys today on the quick game with the slot receivers and the underneath throws to the running backs, or what?
Absolutely. Not quick throws and runs, to tell you the truth. I mean, if that's the strength of it, then I'm feeling even better about the situation. Close to 4 yards a carry. I mean, is this a game that we talk about it every week? Jordan Howard, and so Jordan, is this the Jordan Howard day? Is this drags across the middle? Or some awesome out routes? Honestly, I mean, I believe Cush is out for us, which means great. Hopefully, our guy that we want to start at left guard is in there, and that helps Mitch step up in the pocket and deliver those slants across the middle, those quick throws. And so it's up for us, man. Double A just said it, man. I mean, the thing about it, guys, we're not wrong when we talk about these pregame things, because we have been in every single game to dominate. We just have to make the play when it's time.
Yeah,
and that's really all it comes down to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like there's a lot of
4 yards of carry. Bobby, anybody can eat today. Anybody can eat today. I mean, come on. I mean, but what is Coach going to do? Like we said, is Coach going to try to be smarter than he has to be, or are we going to take what's given?
Yeah, I know, man. And it's like, it seems like it's a going trend, you know, of like many of these teams. Oh, you can beat them with the under route slant screens. You can beat them with this and that. You know what I mean? And we've been saying it the whole time, but we're really yet to capitalize on the weakness like this. Diddy, what do you think, man? You see things changing today? Are we capitalizing on these weaknesses, or are we going to, you know, just go out and play our own game and, you know, stick to the same mentality?
You definitely hope we'd be capitalizing off weaknesses. I mean, that's part of good coaching. So I definitely think we need to expose things when they can be exposed and do it until they can stop us. We've been having a hard time stopping the slant game too. I mean, so Vic needs to work on that. It's always been a thing with the defenses since Vic's been here. Like, so hopefully he steps that up.
Yeah, it's always been a Vic kind of weakness. That under game, he's always been willing to give up the under, and then instead of giving up, you know, that deep ball. But I just think like it's kind of been all over the place lately. I know they talked about it on BHL and 100 Proof, you know, with the zone coverages and that. We'll get into the Bears defense in a little while, but something definitely needs to change today, and get this defense back on top. Now, I mean, the Jets defense, they're not a slouch either. I know they're not ranked the highest in that, but they've forced a lot of turnovers, man. They're coming in with 10 interceptions, 9 forced fumbles. You know, they're not a slouch team. Jared, does this bring up any concern with you for Trubisky and these forced balls with them coming in with 10 interceptions?
I think the Jets, what they do best is they disguise their coverages and they hit you with odd blitzes and force you into bad decisions. The one thing I will say that True's done in the last couple of weeks is he's made pretty decent decisions with the ball, minus he had a couple of throws in the New England game that, had those guys not been defensive backs, maybe they catch it and go the other way, but we've got to play where we don't turn the ball over, and you've got to read those coverages and pick up those blitzes. This is where James Daniels coming in has to be able to understand the line calls so he can pick up his assignment. And there are things that you have to concern yourself with this team. I mean, the Jets they were in that game. They were in that Minnesota game minus a couple of, you know, they had a bunch of drops from their wide receiver core, but that defense is legit. I mean, they're aggressive.
The Jets have the same amount of wins as we do. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
they're not a slouch team. They're not a layup, you know. I mean, and the pressure's coming. They're fourth in the league in sacks, and we got the rookie, like we were saying, starting for Cush. And we're saying, you know, we've had some problems with line calls lately. If you guys watched, you know, the tape doesn't lie, you've seen it. There's times where we got guards, you know, coming down and blocking inside when they should be stepping outside. We've had some issues with containing the pressure. Nikki, do you think this comes together and we create a clean pocket today? Or do you think we're going to see a lot of Mitch scrambling and basically gaining more yards than our running backs again? Ooh, Nikki went Mirage. It's been a while, Nikki.
I was on mute.
I've missed the Mirage. I've missed the Mirage. All right, Nikki, you heard
thanks,
the
I
question.
appreciate
Go
that.
ahead, man. What do you got?
I mean, it has to. Our offensive line has got to have a major game today. I mean, we're playing against the Jets, who have a pretty good defensive line. They're ranked. Their whole D is ranked 20th in the NFL in total yards, 26 versus the pass. The Jets are going to blitz frequently on Mitch, and it's going to be how Trubisky handles it. It's going to be a huge factor. If he was able to get out of that pocket and hit that deep ball receiver, it's going to be nothing but good things for us, man. So the offensive line's got to come up today.
Yeah,
I love little Nicky.
It does. I mean, it's obviously how Mitch handles it, but I think a lot of this also stems back to Cody White here and making that call. You know, if they show a different set or something, that center makes that call and changes up the blocking scheme or whatever. But I haven't been really seeing a lot of that, I would say. I don't know if he has. I mean, I'm sure he has the authority to do it, but it just seems like we've been missing some easy blocks, and not because the guy's beating us, because we're just blocking the other direction and letting them come through. Before we get into our defense, let's run through the Jets offense and see what we're going up against. Obviously, like we kind of said, what's been bothering me, man, is a lot of people are considering this another layup game. You guys all know that this type of game that we end up fucking ourselves. This offense is showing sparks, man. They've managed to put up a lot of points in some of their games, and I don't think there's somebody to be overlooked. You know, I don't think any team could be overlooked, and I'm kind of getting sick of fans saying, oh, this is an easy win and this and that. Does this offense have the potential to pick us apart and find that weakness, or what?
I think they do. I think they have some key injuries this week, but I think Darnold's a solid quarterback. I mean, you can't sleep on the kid. He is very talented. So, I mean, any team in the NFL you got to take seriously. I think we, in my opinion, saw that in Miami. We should have housed them, and you get caught sleeping, you're gonna get slapped around a little bit. But their offense has, I think I saw on the bottom line this week on NFL Network, they have the third most giveaways in the NFL. I think they're at like 13, and we're at the second most takeaways. We have, this is a perfect game to bounce back, and they just have to step up, man. I just hope they bring it this week.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I think that's what we hope every week. We just end up in these damn trap games and these shootouts. I mean, today we might be at a bit of an advantage, possibly. Who knows? This kind of thing. Normally, when we say that, we end up, some fucking rookie or bench player comes out and kills us. But their top two receivers, I think none was already listed as out for sure, and Anderson is probable. That's their top two receivers for this. The young rookie quarterback they got and the little chemistry that they got going. But hey, what does this do for your confidence today with those two being out?
Well, I mean, I think it should be good. It should be nice to be playing against backups. It's been happening all year, though. I mean, the Bears have been the recipients of a lot of luck with the injury department. But it's put up or shut up as far as I'm concerned. Anybody that lines up out there, can beat us as far as I'm concerned. So I hope they don't feel super confident. I mean, Rashard Matthews is a professional receiver. He's put up some numbers. He's kind of down on the depth chart for them, but Isaiah Crowell has a lot of yards, and a lot of it, he's the back obviously, but a lot of that was in that that one game against Denver. But they've got some guys, and I hope that this defense doesn't think that it's just a layup, because Darnold's got 1,552 passing yards. I mean, it's not, this is not some anemic team. And I just said it before, they got 3 wins just like us. So, they've gotten blown out and things like that. But I would just say that, I would like to see this defense, really impose their will and get back to being what we saw in the first few games. That would be really, really nice.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. I mean, you touched on it, and let's talk about their running game a little bit. I know Crowell went off that one game, but Jared, with this running game of Crowell and Bilal Powell, I think Crowell is actually listed as probable, but he'll play. Do you think our defense should be concerned? Because, I mean, we've been getting beat up by backs, and these two, they're those backs that, I mean, they're not going to give you like huge numbers every week, but they're guaranteed to go off. I mean, we can talk to the fantasy boys about it later, but they're guaranteed to go off at least once or twice a year and just destroy everything. It's not like they're bad backs. You think our defense should be concerned with these two?
Obviously, they should. At best, a quarterback's best friend is a good running game. I think Bilal Powell is on the IR, though, is he not? So you're going to see Trenton Cannon. He played a lot against Minnesota last week. And Isaiah Crowell, I mean, from Baltimore Raven fame, as I recall, he's a 1,000-yard back in Baltimore. He obviously, you don't just fall down and get 1,000 yards. We found that out
Cleveland
the hard way. So, I mean, you have to respect the run game. You have to respect, what they do offensively, which, if you're going to help a young quarterback out, establishing the run game is a pretty damn good way to do it. Hey, there's a thought, Coach Nagy.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, Powell is on the IR. I think is Crowell listed as probable? I don't know.
He was a full participant in practice all week. He's probably playing. He's playing.
Okay. Yeah, watch for Trenton Cannon, man. He kind of, from what I saw in the videos that I've seen, he's going to be a factor in this game.
Yeah. So far he only has 8 attempts and 19 yards. So.
Well, for one game.
Got this week. Right.
I mean, Nick, you go ahead, man. What about you? If this thing starts off like that first, quarter and a half of the Patriot game started off, man, we were getting pretty punished by the opponent's running backs. I mean, how do you see this thing playing out?
Man, we got us. This is where our defensive line has to come up big. We'll get into the whole Mac ordeal a little bit later, but with our defense during the first 4 weeks, we led the NFC with 18 sacks, and we're second overall in yards allowed. Last 2 games, we gave up 69 points and just 1 sack. So and you've seen what Sony did to us last week. Like you were saying earlier, can you imagine if he was still in the game? You know what I mean? But the Jets have, I think, a total of, they average about 197 yards of rushing combined between Powell and Crowell. So it's going to be an interesting thing. We got to everybody's got to get their asses in gear this week. They got to be on their heads got to be on a swivel. So defensive line come up big too, man. And Darnold's thrown 10 picks, so we got to get to the pressure on him.
Yeah, I mean, we can get into Darnold. Gaines, you've been quiet, man. Let's come over to you. You concerned with this young quarterback, Darnold, coming at us this week, man? I mean, could be a big example game for him. I'm sure he's fired up, depending on what Bears defense shows up. But to walk in and beat up on this Bears defense for him, it could be a big confidence boost. What do you think, man?
I'm very curious to watch, man. The numbers we can't get. We as Bear fans, we should just know. Forget the numbers, forget the stats, forget the rankings. These guys, the Jets are, I believe, are trending. They're trending up. They're going through a battle test right now. But the teams that they played this year, they played some decent defenses in my mind. Just between Cleveland, Chargers, the Denver, and then they just came up from Minnesota. But Sam Darnold, he's learning under fire. He's doing what we wanted Mitch to do last year, pretty much. And he's adapting. He's not scared to throw the ball. So he has picks, and that's cool. But, I mean, I hope he throws more picks today. But he's not scared to throw. But that means we have to be on our P's and Q's. I don't give a damn what they're doing. we have to stay honest and play it like it's Brady. We have to come out here with the same tenacity like it's fucking Brady or Aaron Rodgers, because this kid is not scared to run straight A gap. He's not scared to run. He's not scared to plant his feet and take off. He'll throw the ball. And so we, as a Bear fan, we hope he like buckles under pressure and just falls down. This kid, he's going to throw the ball. But we saw what happens when one of our guys is not paying attention and people are fucking wide open downfield. And so this team is up and coming. They got a coach, if they don't get it together, could be on the hot seat potentially. I mean, they got a lot to fight for too. And they're in a division with the best. And so we cannot take them lightly at all. There's a lot of picks be thrown around, but this could be the game they get it together. They saying the same damn thing we saying.
Yeah.
And so nobody wants to be 3-5. So they're trying to get back to 500, I believe. And so there's a lot to fight for in this game. I think it's going to be a good chess match, but hopefully we don't start slow. But we got to take advantage. We got to take what's there and take advantage. But definitely not looking over Sam Darnold. He's the youngest quarterback ever for a reason.
Yeah, man. I mean, all right, let's get into the good shit. Let's get back over to our side of the ball. You start with this Bears offense and our weaponry that we have. I feel that, we're starting to find our groove, I think. I know Mitch has missed on a couple of passes, but, I mean, the guys are open. The thing, they've been there. Most of them, I guess, have been open. We're just waiting for it all to come together. Mitch, he's played well. He's been doing a lot better, stepping up in the pocket and moving the ball, getting out of there. He's not doing a lot of that. Well, that one play he did, I think he dropped back about 30 fucking yards, but then he ran for a touchdown. But he did miss on some of those passes. And I still feel he's growing, man. What's your take on those misses and, the under overthrown balls?
Some of the misses were rough, man. I think Mitch is definitely going in the right direction. I'm seeing a lot of growth, but we had discussions on Twitter this week and talking about how the Bears fans focus in on almost interceptions, but it's not so much, okay, that's going to happen, but when it happens in the end zone, that's concerning to me. He's putting that ball in perfect position to be intercepted, and you don't want to lose points on that. So I think, but for the most part, he's keeping us in games, and he has shown a ton of leadership. He's shown the arm strength. I mean, Tampa seems like a long time ago, but that's the potential this kid has. We just need to see it more consistently. And I think we're in a really good position for the first time in my lifetime. I think this kid has a ton of potential to be the franchise quarterback we've been waiting for.
Nice. He's growing on Diddy a little bit, huh?
A little bit, man.
Dude, I agree with you, though. I do think he gets a little careless. I know with that whole, almost interceptions, but I don't give a fuck. Like, the choice, when we're down in the red zone, he throws too many of those balls, into dangerous situations. And whether they're almost interceptions or not, it's still dangerous throws. When you're down, you know what I mean? Especially when you're winning the game and you're down in the red zone, you have to be able to just throw that ball away, eat it, throw it away, whatever, instead of trying to force it. That's some things, I mean, that I didn't like, obviously, but what about you, Nikki? What steps have you seen this kid make so far this season?
Just his decision making, and like you were saying earlier, he's not running all the way back and doing that little pirouette circle spin behind the back and then walking right into a defender. He's maturing, which is great to see. And it's better each and every game, man. The guy's just been balling out. Like I said, 14 touchdowns in the last 3 games cumulative as offense, and then 1,003 yards, 11 touchdowns in 3 games. I mean, he's just getting better and better every week. The thing that drives me absolutely up the wall is just his slow start on offense. And I can't decipher if that's a coaching or a play calling thing, or if that's just Mitch getting warmed up. He seems to miss a lot more balls in the first half, a lot more passes, even 2. He's off by a step or 2. He seems to be missing a lot more in the first half, but then he seems to get comfortable and gets adjusted. But one of the things I love about this kid is just his excitement, his passion. Like he pumps his fist. Like he's energetic when he scores that touchdown, man. Like he's starting to carry that offense. He's starting to become a leader. That's what I am noticing, in my opinion. That's what I love to see.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's some technique issues at the beginning of the games, I would say. You know, and like some. I don't know if he's just hyped up. You know, maybe he's hanging out with too many Miami Dolphin coaches, but he's like wired up. He's wired up at the beginning of these games, man, and it's like everything's just he's putting a little too much on it, and it affects technique and all that, and then he gets his little talking to or whatever, and he starts delivering. I know you said it, like in games, Nicky just put it out there. The last 3 games, the kid's got 14 touchdowns, and yeah, we're kicking some ass. I mean, 3 games, 14 touchdowns, and I still don't think that he's reached his full potential, man. We've also given some away. We'll end Mitch with you, man. What do you think on this, on his development thus far, and putting up these 14 TDs?
I mean, it's a joy to see. He's far from delivered, and that's the exciting part about it. And I just can't wait for Mitch next year, week 8, because he's still learning about himself. He's still learning what he can do. We all see as he gets comfortable more in the second half, his hips get loose. He feels more comfortable. He has more command. And I just love it when he scrambles. It's not even the fact that it's the amount of yards, it's how he looks comfortable and avoiding contact, but still trying to get the max of yards possible. And so the growth is there. The sucks is 14 TD the last 2 games, but those have all equal to losses. And it's funny.
Well, not all of them. The one was a win.
But the last 2 games, this is the last 2 games. And so it's just funny because we started the season off saying we just need the offense just to wake up because the defense is carrying us. And now we just need like all 3 phases to come together so we can stack some W's, because it's so much better to learn as you're winning games. But as far as this Mitch's development, man, it's just like it's up and down. It's a roller coaster. But that's the beauty of proper QB development. Because he'll make the awesome back shoulder 40-yard pass, but then like the 5-and-out route will be off.
Don't make it to Bellamy. He'll lose it in the sun.
Oh my God! But that's Bellamy, man. That's Bellamy's fault, because it's the number 1 rule. You never let a man take your cornbread. Like, hold on to the damn ball. And so,
how does the ball get lost in the sun that's that low?
Oh my God!
I mean, what a crock of shit. Like, how low was the sun at that point in time? Like, I mean, the guy was crouched down. It was a low throw. Like, I mean, the excuses people come up with, the heat in Miami, the sun. I mean, get the fuck out of here.
Hey, lucky for you, we have Bill Nye the Science Guy on standby. We're about to bring him in.
There's no way in hell that it is not an open end zone at Soldier Field, and it was if I recall, it was about 2:00 at that point in time. So the sun could not possibly have been a factor. Like, I just like the stuff that gets
Come
said.
on, man. You know that we're gonna find a reasoning to put something on something. You know what I mean? Well,
why are we making
stunner chains on, boys?
Me, though? I want to
we did it for the first year and a half probably of Fox. We did it for Tressman. We do it for fucking everybody. It's like there's so much belief, and people just aren't willing to say, yeah, you know what? We just fucking didn't have it together. I mean, if you remember that clip we played a couple weeks ago with Kyle Long after that Miami game? He's like, no, I wouldn't say the heat affected me. He's like, maybe the first series or so, I was like, damn, this sucks. He's like, but then I felt fine. Everything was back to normal, and we were doing what we had to do.
Yeah, but this is what we do in Chicago. Your first year as a new head coach, you get the ball wash treatment.
That's true. That is true. I back to Mitch though, real quick. Is Nagy had him drop back 58 times. That's not a good plan. It wasn't a game where the Patriots were just running the score up on us. I don't know why he's dropping back 58 times. And 50 of them. Like that's not a good formula. I don't care.
A lot of that is clock management too. I mean, if you're going to continue passing. And all the incompletions, every incompletion stopped the clock. Mm-hmm. That obviously is going to give Tom Brady more time. I thought that the plan of attack was going to be different. I was obviously wrong. I don't know. I just think like you give them too much time with the ball, and this is what you're going to see. And that's just, I mean, that's the way it goes. I mean, Jer, the consensus is that the running game needs to get on track. But like we're saying here, dude, I'm starting to lean towards the fact that this just isn't Nagy's style. All the runs just isn't his style. He's going to drop back, like AA was saying. What do you think about this running game getting back on track, or is this just not in Nagy's game plan?
I think you remember when you got the Christmas Day and you got all these toys and presents and stuff, and you're just like, I want to play with them all. I want to play with them all. Until you finally figured out that one present that you just loved. And it's like, I just love it. It is my precious. It is my Jordan Howard is our precious, man. We've got to find that bread and butter. He's a guy searching for an identity for the offense, and the identity is staring him right in the face. It's just, you've got to go and use it. Use the running game. Be dedicated to it. Make it a part of the fabric of the team. You know? I mean,
I think he might be like you're saying, as in our precious. I don't think he's Nagy's.
No, I don't think he is either. I'm starting to wonder. I think I was starting to wonder last week if maybe we hadn't already seen a changing of the guard as far as, are we going to see more Tariq Cohen in the backfield than Jordan Howard? And
yeah, I mean, I get
it. I'm not a fan of that personally, but
I'm not either, man. It's unfortunate, you know what I mean? Because I think that kid is special, and I mean, I would love for Jordan Howard to stick around and do this thing, but I mean, I just don't think that's just not the coach's style, man. He's just not about doing it.
Chicago now, man. We're Chicago now. In December and January, you're gonna want a guy like Jordan Howard.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna want one, but I'm just saying,
we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it when they come up in between the tackles and that damn ball is cold and you getting hit and you have a back that gets stronger after contact.
Well, and you know, Phil showed it on the tape breakdown with Tariq Cohen not putting his foot in the ground and getting upfield. Yeah. The reason Jordan Howard was pissed in that Tampa game is because of that very thing. Jordan Howard is standing on the sideline and he is watching the offensive line open up these lanes, and Tariq Cohen is busting it outside, or you know, he's not seeing the lanes. And these are Jordan Howard plays. These are the reasons that Jordan Howard is great. That patience, that you know, kind of sit there and let the play develop. You know, kind of like Le'Veon Bell does. You know, and guys that he's on par with, and then put your foot in the ground and go for 8 to 20 yards. And Cohen is just so fast, and he's had an amazing season. This is not a dig on Cohen, but he doesn't see those lanes. He does not see the space between, you know, Long and Leno. He's just not seeing it.
He's running around the block to the sideline. He's out beating the block.
Right, that's what Howard eats. That's his food. And he's on the sideline. I want to see both these guys on the damn field at the same time. Like, I don't understand why that can't happen.
At the same time, you want to see Howard take advantage of the carries he's getting. So, yeah. I mean, if you're only going to get 15, 16 a game, take advantage of them. But on the flip side of that, we want to see this Howard-heavy offense. Our defense needs to step the hell up because it's gonna slow down points a little bit on the offensive side. Our defense needs to really bring it in order for us to have a consistent, dominant, run-heavy game.
I can tell you. Go ahead, Gaines.
No. You go get it, bro. I was just saying we need to.
I can tell you. Whenever you drop back 56 times, as a lineman, your first step's either lateral or backwards. That is not what you want to feel as a lineman. You want to get downhill. You want to punch people in the mouth. That's a mindset thing. You have to have that mindset. As a lineman, you pray for that mindset because it's like, man, I want to go out and hit somebody, you know. And whenever you're dropping back 55 times, 56 times, that's going to affect your whole offensive philosophy. As a blocker, it's just I don't know.
The feng shui.
Yeah, I mean You call it feng shui. I call it, as a lineman, you want to move. You don't want to move laterally. You want to move downhill and punish people.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all in the same agreement that we think we need more involvement with Howard. I won't say from Howard because it's not him. We just need more involvement with Howard. Hey, give me some other. You got any other offensive player that you think needs more involvement besides Howard? Okay, get up! Come on, get down.
I want to get down with the sickness. That's what I'm about. I mean, I think Anthony Miller is already getting involved in the offense, but I just want to see Mitch hit him. He was wide open, and I would say that those were the plays that probably killed us the most was the overthrows to him. So I'm hoping today's going to be a big game for him. Kevin White, I'd rather see him than Josh Bellamy. So let's get him involved. I think he can, maybe build on whatever confidence he can gain, from that catch on the Hail Mary, I suppose. He might get some plays run for him. He might get some targets. But other than that, I think, that we need just balance. I want to see 25 runs and 35 passes, 30, maybe even more runs. Obviously that means a lot of things if you're, it means that we're playing well in other phases, but I just want to see balance. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, man, I think it's crazy. Like at the beginning of the season, we all were like, of course, especially after we got Mac, we were all like, oh, this defense is going to be on top. Now let's see what this offense can do. We need them to come together. And now it's kind of going the other way. We're like, the offense has been scoring, but the defense has been falling apart at certain points in the game, which obviously hasn't, been the best for us. Granted, yeah, they're going to give up a big play here and there, man, but to just complete meltdown in the fourth quarters and to give up all these points, it's definitely not what we expect from the players that we have on the field. Gaines, what's your take, man? Do you think this defense has fallen off, or what's the deal? What's going on?
It's execution. If we can just get back to basics, get back to basics and just tackle, man. It's really simple. It's really simple, but we have the players can only do what the coaches tell them to do. And we talked about our defense coaches, the inability to try to adjust to in-game situations. And when you have great coaches like Belichick, who's the master of in-game adjustments, we have to look at our own selves and our coaches and put players in the best position. We can't have thick linebackers checking speedy running backs. That just doesn't make sense, especially out in space and giving them wide open fields to turn up field. And so we got to put players. I want to see a Roquan Smith. I want to see our young athletic guys with those backs. All those things should be shut down. I mean, we have one of our best linebacker corps that we've had in a long time. I mean, it was so long. It was this Briggs Urlacher, and then it was a clutch days. But it's just it's been so long that we've had, and then it's sad that our first round pick is a liability on one side because it should all be funneled in. Everything should be in front of us. We should be smacking everything that's in front of us. And so it's really just comes down to execution. And maybe we started feeling ourselves too much. Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I mean, it does. It has to start with tackling. You know what I mean? It has to start with that. I mean, that's where I coach a team here, and it's like when these kids don't, I just start pulling kids off the field. I had a kid that's probably he's the smallest kid out there, but the kid knows how to tackle. So I put him in at linebacker. He can't see what's going on. I just told him to blitz the A gap. And the kid came in, made some big tackles, fired up a bunch of other kids, and then, there they went. But we took out pretty much the most athletic kid on the team because he was trying to, to thug tackle, where you just come up and lay a fat hit on somebody, but you don't wrap up. And the dude just bounced off and kept on running.
That's called the Eddie Jackson tackle.
I think a lot of teams are having trouble with these rule changes too, man. I mean, there's a lot of points being scored, and that was the purpose of it. But there's a lot to process before you make a hit now for a defensive player.
which is horrible because
it is.
Players think, dog, that can cause injury. That can cause injury. You got players thinking, and then at the same time, you're thinking about injury and you're thinking about your wallet because you don't want nobody wants to get fined or hurt the team. 15 yards is just like that's a lot to think about. When you football, you just want to fucking just play. You just want to play and let loose, and you can't even do that anymore because there's so many damn politics and money involved. But whatever. We just need to hit what's in front of us. There's no excuse. All that crap on the sideline of pockets doesn't make a difference. When you have a guy in front of you, it's a damn shame to be arm tackling in the NFL.
Absolutely, but you look like the Jags defense. Look at that fall off. Like it's harder to play defense now. I'm not making excuses. We do need to step up, but they're still adjusting to little changes too.
But you talked about it. I mean, who was partying in Miami? And you see the Jags players is in trouble at the club. So when you see players just not focused, that just quantifies any technical issues. Yeah, you can't tackle if you're not focused.
Right.
Duval.
All right, man. We definitely need to dial up the pressure today, though, and not, get this tackling down, dial up some pressure, against Sam Darnold, of course. Hey, how do you see this playing out, man? Pressure coming in. Is it going to be better than the last 2 weeks? Do you see them adjusting and getting after this? What's your take, man?
Then it has to be. I don't care who's out there. Aaron Lynch, Roy Robertson Harris, Bullard. I don't care. They have to go after Darnold. If they sit back and for whatever reason that would absolutely be insanity. They have to go after him and bring pressure and not necessarily like blitzes, but they've just got to go after this kid and make him beat you. I mean, if you're not looking at this game saying, let's make Sam Darnold beat us, then I don't know what you're looking at, because they've obviously have a good run game. So, they have to load up the box and go get the quarterback. I mean, and make this guy beat you because he will turn the ball over. He will give you the ball. And if they don't do it, I mean, I don't even know. I will lose my shit. Like, I will absolutely lose my shit. I will demand that Scar and Bart and those boys go up into that damn box and get Fangio out and throw him in the lake. Because it's like it's just
cement shoes.
Yeah,
he's freaking out of hit.
Seriously, man. Like, come out of the box and get in the guy's pants. Like freaking like Doug Buffon says. You gotta get in the guy's pants.
All right, let me kick this one around the room, man. You guys have heard it. You've seen it, I'm sure. There's been, takes back and forth on what to do. But let me kick this one around. We'll get to all you guys. With the Mac injury, the ankle. So you're the coach. Are you guys resting him up and limiting his play, not playing him at all, or just whatever, letting him start and getting after it today? Nikki, let's start with you. What's your call on the Mac injury?
Well, in an ideal world, I would start him. Hopefully we jump out to that good lead and let him take the rest of the day off. It's an ankle problem, which is it. But, I'm playing him, but I can completely understand where everybody's coming from as far as letting him sit it out. But even if you use him as a decoy, that's better than half of the linebackers that he could. The guy is an amazing player. Use him as a decoy if you have to. I mean, just his presence out there is always going to be felt.
All right. Diddy, what about you, man? What's your take on it? You playing him? What are you doing?
I disagree with using him as a decoy, man. If he's not able to do what he does, I mean, especially these next two games here, this was a top 10 defense before Mac got here.
Yeah.
Guys need to step up. I'd rather have Mac at 100% for the long haul. And if he has to take a game or two off to get right, I don't know exactly the diagnosis, but if it's to a point where they're not practicing him all week, maybe just dial it back and let him get healthy. I mean, these two games.
I totally get it.
These next two games are games that there is no excuse. This is the easiest part of our schedule. And this is a time that you need to let your big dog rest, and that's what you need to do.
I mean,
Nagy did probably right.
Nagy did come out and say that Mac's ankle is in the same status as it was before the game last week. So it hasn't gotten any better. It hasn't gotten any worse. But he's still basically on the same stage that he was in last week. AA, what about you, man? What are you doing?
Yo, man, I use him as a decoy, then use him as a decoy. I mean, against New England, they dropped him back. He wasn't a decoy. He dropped into coverage the most time in his career, I believe the stat was. You know, they only rushed him 4 times, and when they did, he got doubled, and he was a decoy, but they weren't using him as a decoy. I mean, the idea that he's got a bad ankle, so we'll have him chase a running back is crack smoking level stupid. Like, I don't understand that theory. And people said it all week. I'm not the only one, but it's like earlier in the week, we started out, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. He'll drop back into coverage because his ankle is hurt. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, it's like the sun and the heat and the ankles, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, you know, like if the guy can't do what he does, what we paid him lots and lots and lots of money to do, then he shouldn't be out there. I mean, and Leonard Floyd, you know, just hasn't done jack squat with his opportunities. And, you know, and then so the theory is, well, drop him back into coverage, you know, because that's, you know, I mean, that's definitely what he was drafted for. So I don't know.
Well last week.
It's garbage, like absolute garbage. And so if Mac's out there, he needs to be doing what he does. And if he can't, get him out. Get anybody else. I'd rather see Kwiatkowski in coverage than Khalil Mack.
Yeah, I mean, me too. Let's kick this thing into the chat room too. Let us know what you guys would do. You starting Mac, or you sitting him? You resting him for the long haul, or you bringing him out today? Let us know what you guys think. And we'll wrap up with you guys on this topic. But Jared, let's go to you, man. What are you doing? You starting him, or are you letting him rest?
You gave up 2 first-round draft picks for him. You have to protect your investment at some point. I think if you can if you can do no more damage to the ankle than was already there, then I could justify him playing. But that's a 2 first-round draft pick investment that you have to protect. So I'd say sit him.
Okay. I know I figured this would be a touchy topic for some people. And, you know, we're getting some answers in the chat room. So after we get something from Gaines here, we'll double back and see what these guys think. Gaines, what are you doing? You starting him or sitting him?
It's soft tissues are iffy, man. We talked about this, especially with the ankle, man. We talking about 6 to 8 weeks. Well, that's with proper rest. And so for NFL players, it's different. But if Barflies, and if you guys haven't checked out the Buffoon Show with Adam Rank with Birdsgirl this past week, it was a fantastic episode. But guys, who the hell are we? We need to win these games. We thought we've had Mac the past couple of weeks, and we don't have a W. So all hands on deck need to be accounted for. And so, but at the same time, like Double A, you just said, can you play? Yes or no? And like, if I had a conversation with Mac, I can ask him straight up. But he knows with the ankle, if you can't turn on it like a Von Miller, that's what makes him special. So if you cannot do that, and if he's trying to do that, it's only going to hurt it more and tear more ligaments. Then we need to get him out of there. We can't we can't hurt him. But if it's just a sit back, relax, we got this. Hell no, we haven't earned that shit yet. Excuse my language. We haven't earned the right to just rest our big dog. We haven't done nothing. We haven't won the NFC title. We haven't won the North title in how long? And so we got to prove to ourselves and to our fan base and to our coaches that they can believe in us. And so, can you physically play? Can you go? Can you do what you do? Yes or no? But if that's not it, because if he's there, if he can't do what he does, then he's a liability.
Yeah, I mean, so going into the chat room, Josh Dolph says rest him. You need him for the divisional games. His first step isn't what it was before. Badge agrees with Josh. Let me scroll down here a little bit and see what we get. I think so. Aldo had a good spot in here too.
If we knew that we would win these games without him, yes, of course, rest him. That'd be great.
Yeah, Aldo said last week Mac was still being double teamed when rushing.
There you
if
go.
He has not gotten worse during the week, play him. And the reason he wasn't rushed as often and dropped into coverage is because to alleviate the stress on the ankle, which I still, for personally, I find questionable. But I know that there's more pressure on the ankle if you're pushing against an offensive lineman. I get that, but
I could see somebody giving that reasoning, and I get what Aldo's saying. Like it alleviates stress on the ankle from pushing up against a double team and making cuts and trying to drive off that ankle, and push a 300-pound dude.
Right. But there's you get no benefit of the supposed decoy aspect of things. I still don't, and Roquan Smith was only on the field 55% of the snaps. So I don't know, if your plan is coverage, isn't that what you got Roquan Smith for speed?
Yes, man. And without Mac going, that's an extra a second and a half that the quarterback has to throw the damn ball, because fucking Floyd isn't coming on the other side. So
right. And Brady was getting it out so fast. I mean,
he was.
I don't know if, but I just wanted them to try. I felt like where was the up the middle pressure that we heard was going to be so important? You know what I mean? Like, where was it? It just didn't feel like they were trying to get to Brady. Put your damn hands up.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Nichols showed little flashes of like a Tom
Nichols.
Harrison.
Yeah, I love Nichols. Nichols has got that fire, man. I mean, Nichols is the love. That was a coming out party for him, and that's another positive to the game that we haven't touched on yet. That's a good point.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a big part of the last game. He came in and the kid balled out. I know they covered it on the other shows earlier this week, so I wasn't going to get too far into it because the kid came out and played, but how much more are we going to expound on what they already touched on? But yeah, I expect a big game from him today, and he's putting up the pressure. I mean, if Mac was 100% and getting the pressure he was getting, Nichols would just be even more monstrous up there, man. But before we move on from all this, I want Jared, let's get to these DBs, man. The DBs could potentially have a big day today. I know the chat rooms got going the little guess on how many interceptions and who's going to have them. And the Godfather is going to send you I think it's a Bears Barroom hat that he's talking about giving out if somebody's right. So if you guys got a guess on how many picks we're going to get and who gets those picks, get in there and throw your guesses in and see if you can win yourself a Bears Barroom hat. But Jared, do you see this? These DBs feeling that they have to prove their worth today against this quarterback or what?
Well, they'd better. They should feel that way every week. But, we saw last week, 4th and 4 in a press man situation. Josh Gordon goes and toasts fucking Fuller and just goes up and beats him. That's something that's a press man that he beats, and he beats it pretty convincingly. So these guys have got to come out. I mean, we're not playing anybody like a Josh Gordon today, but you got to have some pride. And what these DBs and these safeties have done is not show pride. You don't show pride in your tackling. You don't show pride in. You got to come out and show some pride today. And I'm telling you, if the old CBA rules were in effect last week, I would have had them boys in pads and we'd have been hitting all week, and it'd have been live and it'd have been ugly because the tackling is putrid. The effort is terrible. I mean, sometimes I wish they could go back to that old school mentality of let's line it up and we're gonna smash helmets all day in practice until you're tired of it and you're sick of it. And then when you're sick of it, we're going to do it some more.
Yeah, then we're going to do Oklahoma's and
exactly.
Bull in the ring.
The CBA's changed that to where you can't do that shit anymore. And it's like, I think that's a group of individuals that could really benefit from a live tackling situation where they can really smack some people around and remember how to wrap people up.
Yeah, man. I mean, we need these DBs to come out and do it today. They have been given those, like we've said before in the past, those big plays up in the game when we can't afford to. And I get it. Some of it's the zone coverage, some of it's all that, but you still have to go out and make a play, man. You can't give up these deep balls and these, 73, 85-yard plays when we're sitting trying to protect the lead and then we give up something like that. We're
not just protecting a lead. We're protecting double-digit leads.
I know.
We just get crushed with that stuff. We're up 20, and it's like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah. So speaking of our DBs, we got our boy Ryan Badgley coming in with a badge of honor for one of our DBs today. Barflies, you know how this thing goes. Ryan comes out with a segment, badge of honor, every week. He's going to spotlight that player or, the organization or charity that he supports and, how you guys can help out. Badge, how you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everybody doing?
Good, brother. Good. Hey, so who you got this week for badge of honor?
Yeah, man. So Prince Amukamara this week. I thought this was a good choice against, a rookie quarterback, and we'll get into the details on Prince here. He wears number 20 for our beloved Chicago Bears from Leominster, Massachusetts. He's 6 foot, 204 pounds. He went to college at Nebraska, was drafted by the New York Giants in 2011. He was the first-round pick, 19 overall, guys, and spent, 4 years with the Giants, a year in Jacksonville, and then came over to the Chicago Bears. And one of the things I forgot is he's a Super Bowl champion as well. I forgot that he had won a Super Bowl. So he was a unanimous All-American in 2010, a two-time first-team All-Big 12 in 2009, 2010, and he was a Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year in 2010. So far, his career NFL statistics, as of this week, he's got 375 total tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries, 61 pass deflections, 8 interceptions, and that 1 defensive touchdown. And his charitable organization is the Others Foundation. So the Others Foundation can be found at others-Omukamaras-Others-Foundation, and I'll pop that on Twitter here in just a bit. And basically what this foundation is for Prince is allows him to focus more on than just one cause and to give the freedom to expand into offering aid to more groups of people as his nonprofit grows. And one of the biggest impacts he wants to have is on his hometown community of Glendale, Arizona. His focus will be there, and it'll be geared to helping the youth in that area find ways to better themselves and dream for something big. So one of the big things that he does, and this is really kind of cool, and having a teenage daughter next year getting ready for prom, the first big thing that he does is a promposal contest where students at his old high school, Apollo High School in Glendale, Arizona, are encouraged to submit a short video of them asking their date to the prom in an epic way. Students, they're required to use the hashtag PrincePromposal, and they can win $750 to go towards making their prom a night to remember. And then he has a football camp that he hosts as well. And he's always looking for other things to get involved in. You can go to their website and look at their newsletters and so on and so forth for what they can do. So my prediction for Prince today, 4 tackles, and he's going to have one of those picks.
Yep, I had him down for one of those picks too. Awesome, man. Dude, badge of honor, I know me and you talked about it yesterday offline, but we talked about it. Dude, I think I like this segment, dude. I think it's awesome. We're gonna go ahead and put up Prince's organization and that on the tailgate handle and get it out there, just so we can spread the word and help out with these things, because I think a lot of this stuff, that the players do goes unnoticed, man. And we really appreciate you coming on, Badgley. Thanks for holding down the fort for me last week.
Heck yeah.
And I had it as a shout out at the end, but either way, you're here, so might as well just thank you here. But
also,
appreciate it, man.
I'm gonna be tailgating with Ryan. Hopefully
next week, boys.
Next Sunday, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Can't wait.
Absolutely.
A little Buffalo game, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah, heading to Buffalo.
Nice.
Buffalo
I know.
Soldiers.
Is Shane's going to that game, right? Shane and BG or no?
I think BG is. I don't think Shane is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man. I mean, it's like we've been talking these games and the whole Bears Barroom Network and all of us dudes meeting up at all these places. Man, it's crazy.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I love it. I know AA is going to talk later, I'm sure, but he met up with the Mott's guys last night, and and Braggs is out there meeting up with them right now, tailgating. It's crazy how this whole thing has come together, and it's awesome, man. But Ryan, thanks, man. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate you, holding down the fort and doing your thing, man. And we have tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's your day.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Yeah, Bears Hour Live.
Barflies get to Bears Hour Live tomorrow night. Join that MixLR chat. Our boy
Tailgate show.
Ryan Badgley will be bringing it on Bears Hour Live with the Draft Doctor tomorrow night. They're gonna bring their thing, and Phil's gonna have his epic rant again at the beginning. Hopefully, it's a good one, and we get this
Absolutely.
Hopefully, we get this Bears W today. But,
all right, guys. Thanks. I appreciate you. And Bear down. Let's get this win.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks, Badger.
Thanks, Badge. Thanks, Badge.
Dude, fucking Badgley's the shit. I like Badge, man.
I like Badge.
You just shoot the shit all the time anyway, but great dude, man. All right, so let's get back into this thing. I guess we'll share some bad news now. So, yeah, we've lost the top spot in the NFC North. After these last two games, I mean, we were sitting pretty, and now we're bottom dwelling, trying to climb back up, man. Overall, I think we've seen a pretty inconsistent NFC North, but then again, we're the only division that every team is above 500. The only division in the NFL that every team is above 5, or either at or above 500, as you would say. I mean, Nikki, is this division that good and becoming like the feared black and blue division again, or what's going on, man? How is this whole division's at 500 or over?
Well, there's a lot of hype about the NFC North coming into the regular season, man. I think that we are that good. But the tides are going to change, man. I think that this division is going to be really good for a long time. And I think football in general is better when the NFC North is good. So, that's my opinion.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if it's the potential, like the people that we're going up against or what, but Gaines, pretty sure every team in the division has lost to teams that they should have beat. Do you see the North just an inconsistent free-for-all, or is it just, some teams that get lucky? It's at any given Sunday theory. What's going on, man?
No, the North as a division collectively, I believe, is coming one of the better divisions in the NFC period. I mean, you got to think. No, so it's 8 out of 10. We have 3 teams fighting for playoffs every year between us and the Lions and the Packers and the Vikings now, and so all 4 of us can't go, and so it's a free for all because I think the Packers' time is done in my personal opinion. I believe this is done, and I believe everybody thought the Vikings had it, but their defensive holes, if you will, has left the door wide open. And I think it's a perfect opportunity for us. And as the Lions trying to rebuild and redo that leadership and get the team together, I think it's a perfect opportunity for us. But we are the black and blue division and stuff. I believe we have the best quarterbacks in the NFC in our division.
Yeah, I mean that's I wouldn't call that a crazy take.
No, not that I'm happy about it. I mean you got Drew Brees and Matt Ryan down there, but these guys. Every quarterback in our division can easily go for 4,000 yards. How many divisions can say that? And so, but that's a testament to our defense, and that's why getting Khalil Mack was so imperative.
Yeah, I mean, to bring that heat, and maybe that's one of the reasons. I mean, obviously it is, but one of the reasons Jared's saying you got to protect that investment and
true.
Keep him rested up and healthy.
Couple of just real quick, Bobby. Couple of pregame tidbits. Breaking news. Shaheen is warming up. Adam John says Tight end Adam Shaheen, obviously he's still on the IR, but he's working with a trainer on the field before the game. Did the same thing last week. He's hopping on one foot, doing high knee running, slow motion bear crawls, and more. They also have talked about, mentioned, I think it was Hogue mentioned that Khalil Mack has been running, looking pretty good in the warm-ups. And then, this is huge, Mitch Trubisky came into the game dressed up like Mike Ditka.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I seen that. That was awesome.
So everybody's already calling out Bears by 50 points. Bears, the black and blue division. That's right. Mitchell Trubisky is going to throw for 5,000 yards in this game.
Yeah, he came on with the aviators.
That's accurate.
He came in with the aviators and the sweater vest.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it looked pretty dope, man.
I love this kid, man. I'm coming around on him. I don't care. I'm going Nicky Ball.
Yeah. Welcome.
I literally saw him come. I'm like, oh shit.
He showed me something against the Patriots. I mean, I really had and then Phil got me fired up too with the tape breakdown and just seeing him be fired up, man. I don't usually buy jerseys of current players. It's just not something I do, but I've been kind of itching to get a little Mitch jersey in my life. I don't know. scares me liking a Bears quarterback this much.
Well, man, let's get back onto this NFC North. But I mean, so I think I would talk to Diddy about it. Maybe we were all talking about it a little bit. But so the year, I mean, I guess we're coining it the year of chemistry. But, we got all these new weapons brought in, and the defense, Matt got over there. We got a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, all these new offensive weapons. And I think we're pretty fortunate to have 5 of our 6 NFC North games. They come week 10 and beyond, man. I think it's great that we get this, this prep time, I guess, if you want to call it that. But we get time to kind of get the chemistry going, see what we have, see what works, see what doesn't work before we get into the games that are really gonna hold a lot of weight. Diddy, what's your take on that, man? On playing these dudes after week 10?
I think it's great to be in the position to control your own destiny. I think the other teams are going to be at the same point though, where their chemistry is going to be at the fully developed point too. So it's going to be a challenge, but anytime you're in position to control your own destiny and not have to worry about this team losing, something you can't control, if we remain in the hunt at that point, we're still in contention and we have control over that. That's major. Hopefully we're there. Hopefully we're not in a position where we have to play spoiler and just to shake things up because we're eliminated at that point and late in the season. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
I definitely think that that's a perfect position to be in if you're still in contention.
Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, I think it's probably right where I would want to be, letting everything come together. But then again, I mean, some people are on that they'd rather, before they get a chance to see them, before they get a chance to have, tape on them and all that, they'd rather play them at the beginning of the season. Gaines, are you happy with the end of the season games against the division, or would you rather face them earlier in the season?
No, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome. It keeps I'm talking as a football fan, because that's when your team start holding back players, and I think the NFL did that so the ratings won't drop. And so meaningful games, let's stay sharp. I mean, I don't really like the whole rest thing and the rust stupid. I mean, it's just wastes time even talking about it. But let's finish strong. It makes it exciting. It gives us something to fight for, and I personally just like that. And so let's go, because especially if you're in a playoff hunt, we've been there, and that Texans. I remember that one year we needed to beat the Texans, and we couldn't even damn do it. We couldn't even put them away. And so impactful games. But if you take care of business, and we're talking about the standings now, guys, we still have that tie. I think that tie is going to help us. Those ties, the tie with the Packers and the Vikings, I think that's going to come back and help us out. But we just got to take care of business.
Yeah, man, I was going to bring that up too. I think that tie is going to hold some weight and, be possibly a deciding factor towards the end of the season, man. I mean, that's not something that really bodes well for your team. And And I mean, I think the only worry I had when I was looking at the schedule at the beginning of the season was playing these dudes at the end, having these divisional matchups at the end. It's the NFL is a tough schedule. It's a tough season, man. People get injured. And I just didn't want to see any of that shit happen. And then we, go up against these teams. But I really think that last game against Minnesota is going to hold some weight. I'm hoping it does. And it isn't like Diddy said, just let's try to screw him over game. I mean, every team, 2 out of their last 3 games come against divisional opponents. I think that's the deciding factor for the North this year. Every team in our division, 2 of their last 3, they're playing somebody in our division. Hey, what do you think about that, man? With that ending the schedule like that, it's not really. I mean, maybe if you're in, you could sit somebody or sit your starters at the end. But with the way this thing is tossed up, man, we're playing some tough games those last 3 games, man. What's your take on that?
This division is going to be a dogfight. I mean, absolutely. I think that, unfortunately, the Lions are ascending right now. The Vikings are ascending. The Packers are still who they are. And as long as 12 is out there, they can beat anybody. And, I think you have a scary stretch coming up here, or maybe a great stretch. I don't know. If we win today, we win against Buffalo, then we have 3 games in 11 days. 3 division games, 2 games against the Lions, 1 game against the Vikings. 2 of the 3 are home games. I mean, that's stack up time. That's stack the wins time. So, I mean, it's cool. I would have personally liked to play maybe some more division games while the defense was looking a little meaner, and some of these other teams were looking a little more beatable, because I don't know about I was feeling like the Lions were trash, and I don't know about that anymore.
Yeah,
they seem like they got they're getting behind Patricia after that Patriots win. All of a sudden, things kind of turned around up there, and they're running the ball.
I don't know if they really turned around. I mean, that was a big win, and I think that win was more of a hey, we got to do this for coach, and more of a fired up to go against them. And who knows the Patriots offense better than Matt Patricia? I mean, There's only one person, or maybe 2, Belichick and Brady. There's not too many people that know that offense better than that dude does. But
I think they're running the ball, and they haven't done that in years, and that kind of scares me a little bit,
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, even since since they beat the Patriots, they lost to the Cowboys. They lost to, I guess it was before the Patriots game, though. They lost to the 49ers, and they lost to the Jets. I mean, all those teams that they lost to are below 500 right now. I think they're just an inconsistent team that, I don't know if there's really an attitude, but it's like they're just inconsistent, man, and they can't prove it. At least we lost to, teams that are sitting in the tops of their divisions with the, Packers, Dolphins, and Patriots. But I think this whole thing is kind of a toss-up. The Green Bay lost to who? They lost to the Skins on Gaines's call, and of course Nicky's call, because they were playing somebody. And they lost to the damn Lions. But I don't know, man. I just think that this division's a toss-up, and I think it's going to be a battle for anybody.
Today's a big day. I mean, the Bears have a winnable game, and the rest of the division is playing against teams that are very losable games for them. The Lions are playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks are also playing better right now. So
let's go ahead and get into those game predictions and those NFC North predictions right now. If you guys are in the chat, go ahead and give us your predictions. Let us know what you think. But also, as soon as this is over, we got our boys coming. We go from here, and then we go to north. Then we got those fantasy boys coming in, Tooch and the Goon coming in to give us their fantasy picks. So if you got any fantasy start sit questions, go ahead, drop them in there. But let's roll into game predictions and kick this thing around the room. You guys want to do? Oh, let's do the Bears last. All right, Seahawks at Lions. AA, who you got?
I'm taking the Seahawks in that one. I think Russell Wilson's going to have a good game against.
Eventually I'm going to have to stat all this up and all your guys' picks because I've been lazy and I haven't done any of that shit. Nikki, are you picking any NFC North team today?
You know what
Nikki?
teams I'm picking, and in this week, I sincerely believe in my picks this week. I mean, I believe them every week, but especially this week. Seahawks are going to win.
All right, so Nikki, I'm just going to knock you out right now and just put Nikki next to the Saints, the Rams, and the Seahawks.
That would be a good idea.
I love little Nikki.
You might as well do both of it.
Yeah, you two Gaines, you're going. Okay.
Gaines is my man, dude. Gaines is my man.
I honestly, looking at this, like, I think the Viking Saints game is going to be a really good game, but I'm taking the Saints anyway. Taking the Rams, I'm taking the Seahawks, and I'm taking the Bears. So I guess I'm on the little Nicky fucking bandwagon today too. What about you, Jer? Who you got in these games?
I'm gonna take the Rams. I'm gonna take the Saints, and I think the Lions are gonna beat the Seahawks.
Okay, so Jared's gonna go with the Lie Downs.
I don't trust the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean the Seahawks are a team that have basically just fell apart, but yeah, I get it, man. Diddy, who do you got?
I got the Vikings, Lions, and Rams.
Ooh, I think Diddy's the only one taking the Vikings.
Well,
so far,
I think they're the best.
There's negative. There's negative, Diddy.
That's not negative, man.
Diddy.
I think the Vikings are the best team in the division right now.
This is the Saints revenge game, though.
Yeah, that's how I'm chalking it up too, man.
Right.
Well,
hey, did we get yours for the Rams and the Saints?
No. I'm taking the Rams. I'm taking the Saints, for sure. And I'm going all against NFC North except for Bears.
What?
Okay. All right, so I think we got them all. Gaines, you said you're against. You're going what? Seahawks, Rams, and Saints, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Eli Apple is starting for the Saints today, and so that's going to be pretty interesting. I want to see how that works out too.
Yeah, of course. That trade happened last week. I mean, we'll see what happens. We got one more week left before that trade deadline. We'll see if any moves are made, but we'll go from there. And we're all taking the Bears, right? Nobody's taking the Jets.
Correct.
I'd fucking boot you out of this.
Hey.
I'm thinking
the Jets.
I'm thinking this Rams game too. The Rams, this is going to be one of those games that could potentially get things all stirred up in Green Bay about what are we doing? Are we even good enough anymore? This is going to be. I think this is going to be a game that Bears fans are going to just probably record or watch just to.
Oh, I'm watching
just
that
to
game
enjoy
for sure.
Every minute of it. I think it's going to be a massacre.
Dude, I'm hoping that fucking Rodgers just gets destroyed by the other Aaron, and fucking Sue is happy to be playing a North team again and gets to come back after him after all those years of just straight kicking him in the face when he was down.
What's the name of the team? A name that we haven't talked about yet, and Adam Rank talked about him on the Buffoon Show, and I had similar feelings. Hey, Jamal Adams, man, I had a feeling he was going to be a Bear too.
Oh yeah,
you can't forget about that guy. We can't.
He even put something out, didn't he? Didn't Adam say something like, "Hey, I thought I was going to be picked by this team, and it would have, I thought I was going to Chicago. It's going to be great to play them."
Whenever somebody says Jets, I think about Jamal Adams because, man, I thought that was the pick, to tell you the truth. And so, that's a talented young man. So just caution to the wind. We need to be wise with that one.
Leads the Jets in tackles.
So, yeah.
Nicky Stats.
Nicky Stats, baby.
All right, man. So here we go. Those are our NFC North predictions. But, like we always say, who the fuck are we? We're just some assholes sitting in fucking a chat room right now. Our takes are hot. They're ball washed with the best of them. You already know. The real moneymaker, the hot talk of the town, the one and only Mr. Mike North. Mike's still killing it, dude. He said, I think it's 25-5-2 now. This dude is just ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I think the two that he said was because he like whatever, when he called in the bet, it was a little different, but he took the loss, even though it wasn't really a loss. let's go ahead and kick his top 4 for you guys so you know who to put your money down on, and, your kids will love you. At least you buy them more fucking Christmas presents. So let's go ahead and roll with Mr. Mike North.
Okay, here we go. Eagles -3 versus the Jaguars. Now, you know what? The Jaguars, everybody's talking, panning them and everything else, but the Eagles haven't lit it on fire either, and their coach coached a bad football game last week. Now, you'd expect them to go to London and get it done. But here's something. Jaguars have been hearing it. But seriously, when you think of London, don't you think of Jacksonville?
Absolutely.
They're the team that's been there more than anybody else.
Yep.
This is a home game.
Yep.
So I'm going to take the Jaguars. Getting the 3, if they lose within the 3. Now, when you say, Mike, that sounds crazy. My record's 21-5-2. Shut the hell up. That's all I'm going to tell you. Okay? You know what 21-5-2 is, Aldo? I had BB figure this out for me. I tried. It took me 10 minutes, and then I took it upstairs. 76%.
That is awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, the best handicapper in the world, not in Chicago, not in the suburbs, not in the communist bloc countries, is on Bears Barroom and in the Chicago Sun-Times. Period. End of story. Okay, here we go. Number 2. Very good.
I sound like Ed McMahon. Remember Ed McMahon?
You just did it.
Yes.
You just did it.
I just did it.
Okay. This is one. Now, by the way, last week I did not, and when I don't give out the units, it's an automatic 100, which puts me at 2,060 because the week before we lost, and then last week, I did win at 2-1-1, so I'm at 2150 now. So the Jaguar game is 125 jelly beans. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Contain yourself. The Lions -3 versus the Seahawks. You know what? I don't know what to make of this. I really believe the Seahawks should be favored. So is this a trap? Is this a game that's just going to go the way the odds makers want it? Here's what I'm going to tell everybody out there. This is what I do for a living. And believe me when I tell you this, I'm going to tell you how much I've made the first 7 weeks in a few minutes, so don't touch that dial. Talk about your 1964 references. Don't touch that dial. I'm going to give the time out in a minute. Last week, the sports books took a beating. They lost. So they're coming back with a vengeance this week, and it usually doesn't happen 2 times in a row. I took the Lions, but I only put 50 jelly beans on them because I don't feel strong about this game, but it was one of my top 4 plays that I liked. So I'm taking the Lions. I can't explain every pick I make. I don't have a logical explanation for the record I have. It's the system I play. And when I play this system, it's like the Fortress of Solitude. Okay? So tell your friends who are all losers, who've already had to ask their wives for money to pay the bookmaker off. That means they're indebted to the wife for the next 3 years and got to do whatever the wife says. And they promise they'll never gamble again, which is a lie because they find another bookmaker and get stupid again. Just listen to the Mike North Advantage.
That's all you got to do.
That's all right.
That's it.
I just got the shakes when I started that, like I've never had to do that. Yeah. Jaguars and the Lions. Now, Bengals -4.5 versus the Buccaneers. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bengals disappointed me.
Yeah.
Even though I picked the other way, they disappointed me with their play. They look like a bad Marvin Lewis year. I had the Bengals doing much, much better, in my opinion, than they are. They're 4-3. I had them at 5-2 and better. I had rated their defense like the 85 defense 3/4 of the time. Aldo knows that. Yeah. I'm not seeing the resolve. Mm-hmm. And that's what happens when you play for a coach who's comfortable and who's been somewhere for 17 years.
Right.
And that's just the way it is. Can you imagine any Bear coach last these 17 years besides George Halas and Mike Ditka? I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
Even Ditka would have been gone by now.
Yep.
The only way Halas lasted because he owned the damn team.
How true is that?
I mean, be honest with you. I got to be honest. I mean, like Jerry Jones, he'll never fire himself from GM. He owns the damn team. So, I like Tampa Bay. I think Jameis Winston's been felt the pressure coming back, after that Fitzmagic nonsense, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And it was a tough thing to come back from. And as I look at the Bucs, I mean, you see that they're 3-3, and I look at the Bengals at 4-3, and I just think Jameis Winston's going to have one of those come-to-Jesus games. So I'm going to take the Buccaneers in this game, and they've done well for me. Well, who hasn't? Jaguars, Lions, Buccaneers. You know how many people want to see me crash and burn in the media?
How many?
You know how many?
How many?
A little quicker with the response, please. Are we on 7-second delay, for God's sake? Many. I'm just going to say many.
Many.
Okay? Many.
I figured you were going to give me a number of like 10,000 or so, but many will work for us.
Oh, many. Jealous, envious, hate themselves in their head. Okay, here we go. My big play.
The big play. Those production values at the bar room.
Second to none.
Second to none.
Okay. Rams. I'm glad this week you got. It sounds like you got your normal 3 hours sleep last night. You were very responsive today. Rams -9.5 versus the Packers. I'm just going to tell everybody this. Everybody in America, I didn't even research this game. I didn't research it. Aldo's going to go, Mike, please. And I'm going to go, Aldo, yourself and every man in America is going to take the 9.5 in Aaron Rodgers. They're going to take it. Because they still think it's Aaron Rodgers from 2 years ago or 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. You don't have Jordy Nelson, who, by the way, let me just throw this to all the great people at Bears Barroom that do such a great job. No, I'm going to be straight up.
I know you are.
I'm going to be straight up. This is the way I am. I don't forget, bad or good. And this is to Dr. Phil, my dear friend,
Shane Marsaw,
who's done a great job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then we got Shane.
Mm-hmm.
We got Bear Girl. We got them all.
We got them all.
We got Nikki. I love little Nikki.
I love them
we
too.
Got Gooch. We got the fantasy guys.
The Goon.
We got
them
all.
Yes.
I mean, we got Eldo Gandia. And then we got the Bear Advantage. Johnny Buffon.
Johnny!
Are you kidding me?
Oh, my gosh.
Good old number 55.
What a lineup.
That's a lineup. Did I get everybody?
Yeah, I think you forgot the Barfly Tailgate show on Sunday that you appeared on.
I love the Barfly guys. I was on with them.
Bobby Bombs.
Bobby! Come on, help me out, Aldo. Who else?
B. Diddy. Air Jer.
B. Diddy, my guy.
And Air Jer.
Hey!
And the Gaines Report. Man, we got so many guys.
We got people that support us. All right.
Not enough time, though.
Did you bet the picks last week?
No,
you didn't. You can't lie to me.
I can't. I cannot lie.
There was not a snap answer. Yes. So I know.
This week, I love your picks this week. I'm betting them this week. Tom Bowman and I are betting them.
If I had a pick I could take back, I'd take back the Bears pick. But I already took them.
Okay. Tell me what you got.
I just think that, you know what, the Jets will keep it close. I think Sam Darnold has a decent day. I think what we're seeing with the defense is a mirage from the first couple weeks. But I also know what they can do to inexperienced quarterbacks. And I also know that Nagy needs a stronger game. I think Mitch Trubisky's coming along, and I think they're going to run the football. I didn't say the Bears were going to lose this game. If the Bears are -7.5. Am I a bad guy if I think the Jets are going to lose by 7?
No, of course not. No, you're still a fan. Hey, first and foremost, Mike North, you are a handicapper. That's your job.
Right. So if I had to do over again, maybe I would do it differently. Did my heart come into play here? Maybe. But do I see Sam Darnold on the other end? And I think Trubisky wants to keep this party going to show people that he's a viable quarterback in the National Football League. I do know this, Aldo, and I'm taking the Bears. But I would go light, folks, if you want to take them.
Okay.
Minus the 7.5. And it will probably be down to 7 by the time, the bet's there. My one tie was Cleveland. But in the Sun-Times, I take the Sun-Times pick, I was getting 3. When I called the guy, I was getting 3.5. So I won that game literally, but I just counted it as a tie. I think that it will be 7. I think it's very possible, a parlay card killer where ties lose. Bears -7, Jets +6. You could lose just by landing on the number, and that ruins your whole parlay card. So I think the Bears will win, but I'm saying this is a game you got to be a little bit careful of.
You know what, Bears girl? Win or lose, the Bears are playing really exciting football.
And we got the best place to buy your game tickets, Aldo.
Get your tickets now at TixBlitz.com. They have the best ticket selection with great prices and no service fees. The price you see is the price you pay.
You heard that right, Bears fans. No service fees.
Right now, TixBlitz.com is having a flash sale. Use the promo code FLASH5 for 5% off your tickets.
That's TixBlitz.com. TixBlitz.com.
They also have tickets for concerts, other sports, music festivals, and it's the barroom's favorite place to buy Bears tickets.
TixBlitz.com, where Bears fans buy tickets.
So that's the wrap-up on Mike's picks. You know, I mean, it's not easy. He makes them sound easy, but this dude puts a lot of work and thought into the process. You know, we've been talking about, we got some breaking news just came across that, you know, we kind of been chatting about it here, but Khalil Mack will not be playing today. Mack is inactive. So whoever's fumbling the mic, you need to stop that shit because it sounds like ass. But Khalil Mack will not be playing today. So, I mean, like I was saying, though, Mike puts in a lot of work. Speaking of guys that, you know, constantly put in work, we got the fantasy dudes on the line. You know, we got them here. We got Tooch and the Goon. They're ready to give our little start and sit. Tooch, Goon, what's going on, fellas?
What's going on, gentlemen?
Hello, man.
Hey. How you guys doing today, man?
Good morning, guys.
Ready for some football, baby.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, this is a big surprise just came across with that Bears defense, man. You know, we'll roll into this thing like we always do with your little – let me get, you know, 2 players that you guys think are good starts or good sits. Let's go ahead and start this one off with the Tooch. Tooch, go ahead and give me a player that you 2 players that you think you should start and sit.
Well, I'm going to go with Jameis Winston against the Bengals. Bengals allowed every passer except Ryan Tannehill to score big against them. So start Jameis Winston. My second guy is Mitchell J. Trubisky against the Jets. Averaging 334 yards passing his last 3 games. He scored 55, 30, and 34 points the past 3 times. So start Mitchell John Trubisky.
You like that name, John, or what? Is that why you're going with him?
I don't know. Is that his name?
I don't know. I thought you were just making shit up. Goon, what about you, man? Who you got? Who's your starting sits this week?
All right, man. My start of the week this week, we need a time machine, baby. I'm talking about Adrian Peterson. Even at 33 years old, he continues to dominate the NFL. This week he gets to go up against the Giants defense that just traded away Eli Apple and Damon Harrison. Peterson also gets a boost because Chris Thompson's dealing with a rib injury. So I think Adrian Peterson's going to channel 2012 and get this man active because he's going to turn back time. Let's call Doc Brown and hop in that DeLorean, man. I love it.
That's a big call, man. Who else you got? You got anybody else besides Adrian that you want to see?
Yeah, my other big start of the week is a guy that people were low on to start the year, Jordy Nelson. For Oakland. They traded away Amari Cooper. He's no longer in town. So now Nelson's the top guy in Oakland. His targets are going to continue to skyrocket, and he's going to get to go against the Colts defense this week that has had a tough time stopping wideouts. So he's got a higher value in PPR leagues, but I expect him to tear it up in the leagues that he's available. And, you know, he's going to be a number 1 wide receiver that's, you know, right now he's not acting like it to start the year, but the second half of the season, look for Jordy Nelson to tear it up.
All right, man. I mean, so I've been paying attention. My notifications are just going crazy right now with all these injuries coming out, man. I mean, we're what, about 8 minutes past when they need to be released. So I think all the inside us are getting their info out. Who are some of these guys that are on the injury report that people might still have sitting on their rosters starting that you think they need to get the hell off of there quick?
That's a huge injury list, the biggest injury list I've put together for all season. That there's so many guys on the list.
Yeah,
know,
there is a bunch of injuries, and breaking news officially: Robbie Anderson is inactive against the Bears today at wide receiver. So, two big targets for the rookie quarterback. Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson both going to be out against the Bears. So that's huge. Marlon Mack for the Colts has been questionable all week, dealing with a handful of injuries. He hasn't been super healthy this year, but looks like he's going to give it a go. So I expect Marlon Mack to play today. So that's a big one.
Gronkowski in, and Josh Gordon questionable versus the Bills and Tre'Davious White. And
okay.
Shady still in concussion protocol. Will Fuller V on IR after Thursday's injury.
Yeah, talk about a tough break for him. Man, that's terrible.
And for my fantasy team.
And mine too.
T.Y. Hilton in.
Yeah, T.Y.'s back.
Jamison Crowder out. Paul Richardson questionable, leaving Washington's receiving core a bit thin. Cooper Kupp and Pierre Garçon. Chris Thompson questionable. Bilal Powell, we said, on IR. Dalvin Cook, Leonard Fournette out. Darren Sproles out. Vikings pass rusher Everson Griffin in.
Wow, he's back, huh?
Yeah, he's back. And Tooch, we also got Royce Freeman not going to play against the Chiefs today. So Philip Lindsay going to get the lion's share of the carries. So look for Lindsay to be a top 10 play in fantasy this week. That's going to be a huge game for him. So get him active.
Okay, I'm writing stuff down, man. I think I have Lindsay on my or no, maybe I got him in the flex right now. Hey, I know this game's tomorrow night, and let's bring up a little topic that we had this week with our own fantasy room. Diddy.
Yeah, what's up, man?
Nothing, man. Why don't you explain to us? Is Sony Michel playing tomorrow night or what?
He's doubtful right now, but when he comes back to tear it up, I got him ready to go, man. I believe I pulled off a pretty epic trade this week, so we'll see what happens. Tooch, thanks for backing me on that, buddy.
Hey, so I'm just busting balls right now, but for those of you in the chat room, we have our own little fantasy thing going, and there was a big. I don't know if you want to call it. It wasn't really a fight. It was more of just a shit-talking session of a trade that was going down. And it was all in good fun. We had some fun with it going back and forth. But Diddy ended up getting Michelle, everybody thought he was going to be down on with a knee injury, at least a couple of weeks at a minimum, I would say. But then the news came out last night and the shit-talking started again. So, it was a fun little it was probably the most excitement we've had in that fantasy chat for a while.
Absolutely. It was fun.
Yeah. All right, guys, what else you got? You got some other players that you think, for all these dudes that are injured, you got some sleepers out there that you think need to be thrown in?
Oh, for sure, man. My sleeper start of the week is Christian Kirk, wide receiver for the Arizona Cardinals. And he's the only receiver that you should own in Arizona. He's got unbelievable speed. He finds a way to get open, and he's going against the 49ers this week, and if you guys remember, they got absolutely torched by Aaron Rodgers last week. So look for Kirk to do the same thing and fire him up as a flex in every single league that you have him.
Okay. What about you, Goon? You got somebody?
I'm going to say Jared Cook on the Raiders. Watch out for him. Tight end on the Raiders against the Colts. And then Philip Lindsay on the Broncos with Royce Freeman out. I would get him in your starting lineup.
Yeah, man. I'm definitely got to get Lindsey, and I think Cook was also a part of that trade with Diddy, wasn't he?
Yes, sir.
Man, but I think you gave him up, right? Either way, man, I just love busting balls. It's a fun time for me. What are some players that you guys that have been producing well that you think will be maybe not do much of anything today, and we should think about substituting?
Yeah, so the sit list, man, the dreaded sit list in fantasy. I was the guy I was going to talk about was Robbie Anderson, but he's inactive anyway. But the other big name on my list here is Kyle Rudolph. He's really underwhelmed this season for the Vikings,
Thielen and Diggs are setting the league on fire, and Rudolph really hasn't done much of anything. He's not being targeted, and he's not scoring. So in fantasy, that means we don't want to deal with you. Now he gets a good matchup against the Saints, and everyone usually is like, oh, the Saints, let's go ahead and fire them up against the Saints. Usually I would have you start a tight end like this against the Saints, but Rudolph just isn't a part of this offense. So keep him on your bench until his targets go up. I'm not starting Kyle Rudolph anytime soon.
Okay. What about this Bears team today? I mean, I know the inactives came out. I know it's not really not a lot of guys that you would start or have on a fantasy team. But how do you think these guys, the inactive list, affects our play today?
I'd watch the Bears slot receivers. Jets, one of the worst teams in the NFL against the slot receivers. So whoever's going to be manning the slot, whether they're lining up Cohen or Miller or Burton, those receivers should have a big day.
Okay. What about this defense? Is this defense a start?
I think so.
I think so too. Just got to keep in mind without Mac, it's not going to quite be the same pass rush. So keep your expectations in check. But I would not bench them. I think a rookie quarterback's just what these boys need right now.
Yeah.
Last
for sure, man.
Go ahead. Last week I gave you Drew Brees a sit, only scored 20 points, and Deshaun Watson a sit. He had like less than 20. This week, sit Matt Stafford versus the Seahawks.
Okay.
And Eli Manning versus the Skins. Sit Vikings running backs versus the number one rushing defense in the NFL. Saints allowing 73.8 rushing yards per game. Only sit Latavius Murray.
How do you guys see that game playing out today between the Saints and the Vikes? Who you got?
I'm taking the Saints, man. I just think they're playing good football right now, and they got that trade for Eli Apple helping out that secondary. So I'm liking what the Saints are bringing to the table, and they're doing what they have to do to win, to get over that hump and hopefully make it to a Super Bowl. That's what they want to do.
In the interest of the Bears, I'd like the Saints to win, but I think I'm going to go with the Vikings in this one at home.
Okay. All right, fellas. Well, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. We're going to wrap this thing up in the next 10 minutes or so, but I appreciate you guys joining us, giving us your fantasy football knowledge. You guys, Joe Mandel, you had a good week last week, huh? A little BHL for you last week.
That's
running
right.
Things up there. Yeah, man. If you guys haven't heard that yet, get back into your pod stream or podcast or Podbean or whatever the hell you use, and check out last week's BHL where Joe moderated with the Draft Doctor, and they kicked a lot of good stuff on that show, man. Joe and John, they join us every Sunday, always answering your questions via Twitter. Feel free to hit those dudes up, Fantasy Football Goon. Fire away any questions you have. Fellas, thanks for joining us this morning, and we look forward to talking again soon.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you. Always a blast.
Thanks, man.
All right, fellas. We'll talk to you guys later, man.
Great stuff, guys.
Later.
All right, guys. Let's get any last shout outs around. I know I got a bunch today, so I'm just gonna kick this thing off. But I got a couple of shout outs that I wanted to say, and we'll get to wrapping this thing up. And I got a couple ideas I want to throw out there too. But first off, you guys know, like, dude, for me lately, shit's been kind of hectic. I had the damn hurricane crush the house. My dad's going through some shit in the hospital, and then the wife was in the hospital last week. Unfortunately, Saturday she went in, and I just want to say thank you to all the Barflies who reached out. Aldo, Phil, Shane, BG, you guys were quick on the reaching out and asking if I needed anything, and it means a lot, man. And just coming from all you guys, man, the guys from the Tailgate show, Trey, all you dudes just reaching out and seeing if I needed anything, and it really means a lot, man. Another thing, I mean, one of our boys, Sandy Tom from across the pond, he reached out to me, man, and this dude, like, I don't know if he wanted me to say it or not. I'm pretty sure he's a humble dude, but I'm gonna put it out there anyway. He's just like, dude, the dude gave me 2 tickets for Bears-Giants. So I'm going to be going to the Bears-Giants game, and I was going to go, we were looking for tickets anyway. Yeah, but, He's like, you come sit with me. He's like, the worst part about these tickets is you're gonna have to sit with me and Phil. But Sandy, dude, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. You definitely, threw some excitement into this, into the recent sadness over here. So Sandy, I appreciate it, brother. And then the last thing I wanted to get into, man, is this intro thing. So we've been going over some ideas for intros, and we don't want to get against any legality issues and that, and having us call Verdoliak to try to fucking help us out. But either way, man, so this idea I posed about the intros, I would like to use for the intro music local Chicago bands. So any genre, it really doesn't matter. Local Chicago bands that want to maybe throw us a little 30-second intro or something that we can use on our intro, or maybe during some of the segments. If you guys got anybody out there that is local Chicago band or whatever, send me their info, DM me their info, or throw it in the chat or whatever, and I'll talk to them and we'll see what we can get. We actually had some guys they're all on board. They were gonna hook us up, and today unfortunately we had some issues with it, but I'm gonna shout them out anyway. It's a band called the Unlikely Souls. They'll be playing Saturday, November 3rd at Penny Road Pub in Barrington, Illinois. They're from Villa Park. Dude's a prior Navy guy, just out there doing his thing, man. And me and him have been chatting back and forth. So for the gents, they're from Unlikely Souls. Sorry we couldn't get that thing going today. But I appreciate you guys' interest, and, we look forward to using you in the future. And Barflies, go ahead and check them out Saturday, November 3rd. So, all right, my time's up. I'm talking and shout-outs and shit. I'll close this thing out with the promotions. But let me kick it around the room to you guys for any shout-outs you got. AA, what you got, brother?
I just want to shout out everybody that keeps supporting us. We appreciate you. Want to shout out the Mott's. They came into Bill's Bar and Burger strong last night, and they were a ton of fun. And it was really cool to meet Scar and his wife and some of the guys from the Mott's, and they're going to be representing out at the Bears game, and they're going to be getting loud. So that shout out to them. And also, I think I'm going to be looking forward to the Baloney Ponies promposal. I just got word that he's going to be putting together a video for the Prince and the Pony, a little promposal action from our man Eric Gare. And I mean, who would he be asking to the prom? There's only a few people, so that's my big shout out. I'm gonna be looking forward to that. So stay tuned.
Yeah, that'll come right after your Mike North impersonation.
I love a baloney pony.
All right, little Nicky, who you got, man? You got any shout-outs today?
Man, I got a shout-out to all you guys, all the people that's in the chat, the bar room, sponsors, everybody. You guys are all great. We appreciate and love you all. And then I got to give shit. Been walking around the house saying the Jets suck, and didn't know whether I should discipline them or give them a high five. I chose the high five, so you get my shout out today, kid.
All right, what about you, Gaines? You got any shout outs?
First and foremost, right here, guys, the team right here, what we doing, and Aldo, appreciate you just keeping us cool behind the scenes. Everybody at Bears Barroom Network. Everything that we do, Buffoon Show, Trey Busy. I mean, we just making such an impact throughout the course of the week. And I'm just a fan of all the shows, and it's a joy to listen to. So I hope you guys are checking out Pond Bean to replay any shows. But, yeah, man, just the Barflies, man. Everybody in the chat room, like AA said, the support is phenomenal. And I'm just happy and appreciative of you guys accepting me and all of us, man. Let's go.
Damn straight, man. All right, B-Digs, what you got, man?
Pretty much, Gaines pretty much hit on everything. Barflies, thank you for your support. Everybody in the bar room, I just think we're going to get bigger and better. And I just thank Aldo for your support, man, running things behind the scenes here. And Bobby, everything you've been going through, man. Hope you get a break and get a nice win today and get things back on track. And let's get it today.
Yeah, man, we busting out them throwback jerseys today, or what? Is that the game plan? We're going to support some throwbacks?
I think we might have to.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to too, man. I don't normally do it, but I think I'll go ahead and do it this time. All right, Barflies, you guys go ahead. Check out, like we said earlier, BHL tomorrow night. Ryan Badgley.
Badge, man. Yeah,
Ryan Badgley will be rolling with Draft Dr. Phil. They got Emery Hunt coming in, kick some of his knowledge. We'll see how that thing goes. Make sure tonight, 10 o'clock Central, you got Danny Shimon and Mr. Aldo Gandia will be coming at you with a little on tap. Kicking their post-game show and letting us hopefully celebrating this win. Thanks for joining us this morning. We look forward to bringing you some pregame coverage every weekend. Make sure you follow Bears Barroom for all your football coverage. Get to the swag shop. Check out the gear. Hook yourself up. The Barfly Tailgate Show and all Bears Barroom Radio Network shows are brought to you by Verdoliak Law Group and BetChicago.com. Visit Verdoliak for, give them a call, explain your situation, see what they can do for you. Stop by BetChicago.com, one of the hottest new websites, sports betting apps available, dedicated to sports betting. Go ahead, get in the App Store, search them out, download the app, start placing those wagers. Don't forget the newest one we got, Tick Splits, for all your events needs. I mean, they joined the bar room. They're hooking up Barflies with the best deals around. Get there, whether it's a sporting event, a concert, Broadway shows, it doesn't matter, man. They'll hook you up with whatever you need. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet for that Bears-Giants game, what the hell are you waiting for? Get on there. Tick Splits is ready to hook you up. This show and all Barroom shows are available on our podcast stream at bearsbarroom.com. Once again, Barflies, thanks for joining us this morning. You guys bring it week in, week out. Enjoy your Sunday, and as always, bear down.
Hey, get a shout out real quick to my boy Mike. He lost his father today or yesterday. Firefighter. And my heart goes out to my brother. He's coming to Detroit with me to the Detroit game in 2 weeks with me. Just like to see him get a lot of support. That's all I got, man.
All right, brother. Yep, he's in our prayers, and bring him to that game. Hopefully, we get some.
Turn him out.
Yeah, we get some good stuff there.
And Bobby, real quick, we got something that's pretty exciting. Just real quick, a really, really special thank you to Aldo, Shane, and Phil for having me on 100 Proof, man. That was such an epic honor and surprise, man. And it still feels like a dream. I feel like that didn't even happen. I feel like I moved forward. And so,
yeah, but you were awesome on it too.
Hell yeah, man.
It was an absolute treat, man. But more important than that, I cannot wait to find out who the next Super Barfly is, because it's about the unity, it's about the community of what we're doing in the chat room. And so, who's next is the next question, because Doc and Shane can't wait to hang out with you, man. And it's a rising tide raising all ships, man. And so can't wait to see who that is.
That's right. Next man up, Barflies. Let's see who we got next week on that Super Barfly. Gaines killed it. Gaines is a little sad. He's back in Gen Pop, but that's okay. He's hanging out with us.
This is where I want to be. I'm home, baby. Let's go.
All right, fellas. I appreciate you all your hard work this morning, man. And let's go get this Bears win.